Hey everyone, I am literally recording this at 10:31 p.m. on December 31st, 2024. The final 90 minutes of 2024. And um before you're after this you're going to be hearing the final episode of the Real Lovers podcast for 2024, the Everything Everywhere All at Once um episode where I recorded with Tyler Rezentes, Tyler the filmmaker, pretty much on all platforms, and we had a really great conversation. The episode was a little bit there's some audio issues in there. I tried to fix it a little bit in post, but it's not the best audio quality, but it's still a really great conversation just because Tyler and I just go on so many tangents and just everything. And I wanted to come on here just to thank everyone that listened, that stuck with the Real Lovers podcast throughout 2024. I know I haven't really been the most consistent in 2024. In 2025, I'm definitely going to focus on being more consistent, on getting more episodes out at a regular pace. That's definitely going to be my goal, just because I like what I'm building here at the Real Lovers podcast and all the people that I've talked to, including Tyler, and just it's definitely going to be a challenge, but it's definitely something I want to continue into 2025. But one thing I want, since this episode where we talked about everything everywhere all at once, Tyler actually got me, after we recorded the episode, the Everything All at Once script book from A24. This is one of the first script books that I think that A24 gives out to its members, the AAA 24 members. And this is just a really great book. It's basically the entire script for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So if you're a fan of this movie, like Tyler and I are, this is definitely a book to pick up. It's really great. Thank you again, Tyler. This is amazing. But yeah. Um, any other news before I start this episode? I don't want to talk too much because this is close to a 3 hour episode and I might have to split it up in parts. Probably not. But but yeah. Tyler and I go on just so many rants in this episode and just tangents, but uh, it's one of my favorite episodes of the year, and it was supposed to be out several months ago, but had computer issues and stuff that you don't really need to hear about. But yeah, I'm really glad that I finally pushed to upload this episode in 2024, technically, even though most people are going to be listening to this in 2025. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for 2025 for the Real Lovers podcast. Going to be writing more articles on thereallovers.com. Probably going to be doing that a lot more. And then going to be expanding out on this YouTube page as well, the Marley Loves Film YouTube page, and probably yeah, it's gonna. I'm just gonna be continue talking about movies in 2025, as long as the the places where I'm at continue to stay up. If you know, you know. I'll just say that. But yeah, this has been a really great year. Thank you for everyone that has listened, and let's continue watching and talking about movies through 2025 and beyond. Anyways, enjoy the episode, and thank you for listening. We come to this feed for magic. We come to the Real Lovers podcast to laugh, to cry, to converse. Because we need that. All of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the music begins to fade. And we go somewhere we've never been before. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our hosts feel like the best of all of us, and discussions feel perfect and powerful. Because here, they are the Real Lovers podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Lovers podcast, the only podcast here on the internet that covers all of the movies in the Letterboxd Top 250. And this week on the podcast, we are covering the 2022 release, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And joining me today, he's a brother from another mother. He's a filmmaker, Hawaii and LA-based filmmaker, a film lover, and most importantly, a fart lover. Tyler, the
Thank
filmmaker,
you.
welcome to the podcast.
No, can I just say, I don't know. I guess I've just never heard your intro here live for some reason. I don't know why it's different, but everyone needs to give some love to that intro. The amount of work that went into that, how perfectly edited and just okay. Anyway, great. What a great start.
Perfectly edited. It took me like 30 seconds to make.
Really?
Yeah.
That would have took me hours, bro.
Yeah. Tyler, it's been a while. I think you've been on the podcast twice. One episode were actually posted, and the other it's in limbo at this point because it was not like the episode was bad, but it was just like I honestly had to like restructure like the entire like podcast. It was like I don't know.
Right.
It was just weird. But how you been, man?
What was that? I've been good. Wait, what was that episode? Like we did it with somebody else, right? That's what she said.
I think we just chatted like for the first episode, and then the other one I think we did a top 10 movies of 2022 that I
Oh
never posted.
God. 20. Oh
But yeah.
no.
But Tyler, how's your 2024 going?
It's a little bit of moving, a little bit of trying again, still trying, still going. And that's how the year's been. Like
Everything. You're feeling everything.
yeah,
Everywhere.
sometimes everywhere.
All at once.
Not all at once. Maybe some of the time.
But yeah, we're talking about Everything Everywhere All at Once, directed by the Daniels, released in 2022. But before we get into that, Tyler, you're on Letterboxd, right? Letterboxes. You like movies, right?
Do I know what Letterboxd is? Yeah, if you like movies, you should be on Letterboxd. Yeah, I have a Letterboxd.
There's a little thing at the bottom of your profile where it shows your last 4 movies watched. Tyler, for a traditional segment here on the Real Lovers podcast, what are your last 4 watched?
Me pulling up my Letterboxd right at this very moment because I don't remember the last. Okay.
No, I love it when guests come prepared. So.
Yeah, I'm prepared. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna start from the 4th to the newest. Deadpool and Wolverine. You watched it. It was
it was a movie.
It was a movie. It was fun. I had fun. If I have to say anything about it, there's one thing I would say. I think one of the major problems in that movie. I guess I should say what I liked about it. It was colorful. Okay, so what I didn't like, there's just like I felt it's the thing that like Marvel does a lot, where like they just don't know how to focus on like just one antagonist or just one thing. Because I thought the TVA stuff was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just that though. They introduced like the lady who also looks like, what is her name from?
Oh,
this is so bad. Doctor Strange, famous British actress.
Oh, Tilda Swinton.
Yeah. I was like, that's Tilda Swinton. You can't convince me otherwise.
Open a bro out. I think they use they them pronouns. It's a.
Oh, got it. God, sorry.
They were in. Is it Game of Thrones? Are they in Game of Thrones? I don't know. Or House of the Dragon?
Yes.
I don't watch that show. I know you watch House of the Dragon, but
I watch that show if it makes me cool. I watched the first season. I didn't watch the second season yet. I got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, there's too much TV. There's way too much TV out right now. It's ridiculous. Everyone's like, you should watch this, you should watch that, and I'm just like,
what kind of time do you guys?
Can I just watch a movie instead? That's usually like everyone's like, oh, you should watch Interview with a Vampire. You should watch this show. You should watch this show. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna go to the movies. I got a movie pass, so I'm like,
yeah. Ooh, are those good? Is that worth it? Should I get one of those?
It's okay. I'm bad with my money, so I just subscribe just because I feel sorry for Stacy Spikes, but the CEO of Movie Pass. Also, Stacy, if you're listening to this, I would love a sponsorship. But yeah, you saw Deadpool Wolverine?
Yeah, I did. I did see it.
And it was a movie? And you had fun?
It was a movie. I had a lot of fun. It was fun because I watched it with my friends and like those movies are fun with people. Is it a film? No.
Is
Is
it
it
a
a Marvel movie? Yeah.
is it a Sean Levy directed film? The most
Yes. Sean
mid
Levy is
filmmaker.
there's nothing wrong with him. I just think he's like the go-to when you just need to be something that's like serviceable for the most part. Like
He's the director that you go to when you need to finish a project and you just can't get it off the ground.
don't worry, Sean Levy got it. He's gonna levitate this movie up to success.
Yeah.
Hated
Even
that
though
joke.
I really like the Night at the Museum movies.
Did
Just
he
that
do
first
that?
one. Just that first one. But
Oh, I only
yeah.
watched the first one. I didn't see the second
Yeah.
one.
It's a little racist, but like most Sean Levy movies. But yeah, I saw Deadpool Wolverine 2. I thought it was
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we both chatted privately and we're tired of Marvel at this point. Someone's got to change something up at this point, and I don't know what that change is. It's definitely not Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom.
Ah, God. I don't, like people don't understand why I'm like, because some of my friends they're not super into movies, but they were, oh, what's wrong with Robert Downey Jr.? I'm like, there's nothing. I don't care for him too much, but it just completely destroys everything they built up to that point, and it does truly feel like a cash grab. It feels like retconning somehow. I don't know how that is because I'm not super into it, but it feels like retcon. Like maybe they shouldn't have killed him off. And
I will
like,
just say, I hate to bring this up so early in the podcast, but I feel like Marvel is at this point where they've just reached Fast and Furious levels of just ridiculousness.
except it's not fun. Like, except it's not
Debatable.
fun.
Debatable.
I
I'm
didn't see
gonna
Fast
stop you
X,
right
so
there.
I don't know. But
I'm gonna stop you right there. But yeah, Deadpool Wolverine. It's a movie.
it's a movie. It's great. Can I say one more thing? I mean, whatever.
Okay,
Like,
sure.
I just the one thing that like Marvel and stuff, and I feel like that's their problem. They keep getting rid of these properties that'll push them to the next place. They just keep getting rid of them. Eternals, they shouldn't have done that. And now Star Wars, I'm an acolyte, but I won't talk about that. It's just like whenever they start to move in a direction that's interesting, they screw it up. And I'm just like so close because the fans, they're so like the bad fans, they're so loud, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna take your Luke Skywalker. I'm gonna put him over here, okay? It'll be okay.
Take your last Jedi.
Okay.
Take your last Jedi and protect that with all my with every soul in my body.
My God, we got to do the podcast on just The Last Jedi, but we summon everybody who loved that movie, and we'll just do this like 10-person podcast.
Or
like, The Last.
We could just be like one with the films and just mention the Last Jedi every moment of this podcast.
Doing God's work,
Just like Last Jedi, Last Jedi.
You know, whatever. Like this might be my Last Jedi. This podcast is my Last Jedi.
So
That's a compliment.
Okay. Is that a compliment?
I don't know. Improv, just roll with it. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know where that was going. Sorry.
Is this episode going to be your Last Jedi where it just crash and burns for both of us? Crash and burns the entire film?
No.
Wait, no, that would be Rise of Skywalker. Okay.
That would be Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, people are going to listen to this podcast and they're going to be like, hey, I don't understand this. Who are these two people? And they're like, you don't get it. There's going to be a certain section of this fan base that's going to be like, you don't get it. These guys are geniuses.
They know.
They know what they're talking about. They put everything on a bagel. But yeah, Deadpool Wolverine. Yeah. Anything else to say about that movie?
No. No.
Ryan Reynolds, is he your favorite actor of all time?
No.
I will just say
he's interesting. He's fun.
I find him completely repulsive, to be honest. I missed.
Okay, I thought you were on his side. That's why I was like, I don't. I think I like him.
I miss the days when Ryan Reynolds did interesting projects, Buried, and then Waiting too, like in his early career.
Oh yeah.
And
you didn't like Amityville Horror?
Oh, he was in that?
Did they do like a remake of that?
I didn't watch it.
I've only ever seen clips. It's bad. I'm assuming it's bad, but whatever.
Yeah, I just feel like ever since the first Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds is just doing the Deadpool thing, and it's so annoying.
Right.
And I know you like Free Guy, Tyler, but it's just like
Defend that movie. That movie's
that movie also has your dad in it, so
yes, it does. Was it my favorite role of his? No, but if people don't like it, I like it even more. I don't know.
and you got to support your dad even more now, just because
Right.
the way people are just treating him lately. I'm just like, Jesus.
He's like off the radar now. I feel so bad. He's just doing like his commercials, whatever. He shot that one with Daniel Craig, and then he shot another a similar sort of style like commercial thing
Wait,
again.
he's writing a Star Wars movie, isn't it? That's why he's under the radar.
Are they gonna let him do it?
I think it's still in the works.
Okay.
I don't
mean,
want him to
to
do it anymore.
I know. Just looking at, they're only gonna it's just gonna hurt more. And then Akira, we're never getting that Akira movie now. I'm
No,
like sad.
never. But you saw Deadpool. What else did you see, Tyler?
I saw Sometimes I Think About Dying, which is funny because it also stars Daisy Ridley, who is also in the greatest entry in the Star Wars franchise, The Last Jedi. Anyway,
what's that one about? I don't. Is it a 2024 release or?
Yeah, or 2023. I think it was like a Sundance thing, I think, but it's a remake though, or I don't know, it's based off of there's a movie that's by the same name and everything. It's just this girl who's in this office and she lives her day-to-day life, and then sometimes she thinks about dying, the title of the movie. But eventually this guy comes in and she starts to talk to him and they develop a relationship, but because of how she is, I think it's like about like her being like neurodivergent a little bit and stuff like that. But if you're looking for a movie that's just gonna just hurt a lot emotionally, just put you in a blanket of emotion and it won't let you go.
So that's my jam. Don't you know me, Tyler? That's every movie that I like to consume.
Me hinting that you should watch this movie.
Yeah.
Because I think it'd be your jam.
Literally every single movie that we've covered so far on the 250 Letterboxd top 250 has just been just put hooks into me and just rip me to shreds.
That was Perfect Days for me. Perfect Days. It's weird because it was like therapeutic, but at the same time, like that movie, my eyes were hurting because I was crying so much.
I think.
Yeah, I cry.
I cried. Yeah, we both cry. We are capable of crying.
Yeah, we cry. Yeah,
I feel like Perfect Days, like I cried, but it was more like I don't know. I think I just appreciated how like therapeutic that movie was, and I don't know. We should talk about that one. Perfect Days.
Another podcast. Here we go.
Yeah, another podcast. But yeah, Sometimes You Think About Dying, starring Daisy Ridley. Where'd you watch it? You watch it on Max, the one of
I watched it. No, I watched it. I specifically restarted my movie just to watch this movie, and then I realized I was like, oh, there's a whole library of these movies that I should be watching from other countries, and just never got to it. So
I'll have to check that out because I forgot to cancel my movie subscription, and I was
so you have a whole nother month.
Yeah, I was like, damn it, $14.99 at the door.
Yeah, I already paid for it. I gotta.
Yeah, now I gotta watch a bunch of good movies. What a bummer. But yeah,
but movie, if you're listening to this,
yeah, please sponsor this podcast. Please give us a free movie pass.
Movie pass. Thank you.
But yeah, what else did you watch?
I also watched Alien Romulus.
Scary Man Baby.
Scary Man. Can we like talk about it? I feel like it's all over the internet now.
It's all over. I'm scrolling through TikTok and you see him just haunting my nightmares.
I do want to say though, everyone's all that third act. I'm like, yes, but the rest of the movie too. There's a reason why the third act. I'm just like, I'm gonna be insufferable. I realized I was being insufferable at one point, and I just wanted to stop posting about Alien Romulus. But I love Alien.
Continue posting, Tyler. Just continue posting about Alien Romulus, because it's really good.
You guys are idiots. This
really
movie's good. Yeah. If you don't like it, I don't understand why you don't like it.
You've seen it twice, right?
I've seen it once. It feels like I've seen it twice, the amount I've talked about it, but no, I haven't seen it a second time. I'm planning on seeing it this weekend again, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I might
So
see it a third time because I saw my second time I saw it in IMAX and I sat in the front row because I'm
the front
insane.
row.
Because I'm insane.
My God.
And
Oh
in the
my
third
God.
act, that's a like in the third act, that's when I just went like this, just and I wet myself because I was like, oh Jesus.
You're like, oh
Oh
my
my God.
God.
Yeah, I watched Alien Romulus too. I think it's really good. I got a retrospective coming for the entire Alien
Yes.
franchise.
You told me
Uh,
about that. I'm
no,
excited.
no spoilers for that, but I'm about 5,000 words into my retrospective, and I'm just on it, Resurrection. I've got a lot of
Oh,
things to say
jeez.
about Resurrection.
Yeah, so 4,000 of those words are just on resurrection. I'm
Yes,
assuming.
because I don't know. I was texting you back and forth when I was watching it, just because it's insane. That movie is literally insane, but I still think there's good things about it. I think it's a good movie, but not really.
I enjoyed having to argue with myself, convincing myself that there are still good things in this movie. Like the constant battle of okay, Ron Perlman's terrible, but he's also great. Terrible as like the character is terrible.
Mhm.
Like him as an actor, he's just having it up. Whatever he got, I'm gonna give you. You said only 70%. I'm gonna go 7,000% on this one. Whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, you do you, Ron Perlman.
And
Love
then
you, bro.
when not Winona Ryder's just not really giving anything. And
No,
I feel like halfway through that movie, they're just like, "Oh, spoilers for Resurrection," but halfway through that movie, they're like, "We're not getting anything from her, so we're just gonna make her a synthetic. We might as well just make her."
yes, that's what I felt. It felt
That's-
like that. I was like, 'cause they just didn't know what to do with her. I was like, bro, this is so bad. And then it's funny looking at Resurrection, and then Romulus just like unintentionally rubbing it in the face of Prometheus. So this is how you do a character that is a synthetic who has an emotional connection to our main character. You know what I mean? There's just
Mhm.
like a way to do that better. And I think even like in Prometheus and stuff, that was David was probably the most interesting part about the entire like the newer
Covenant and
Alien
Prometheus.
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It felt like they did 7 of them. They've only done like 2 of those
I feel yeah,
movies.
especially since Covenant felt like it was like 4 hours long, even though it was only
It
like
just kept
2.
going.
CGI. That CGI. I thought Resurrection was like the worst movie in the Alien franchise, but I think Covenant must be up there.
Oh, did you not like Covenant even
I
more?
don't like. I think I couldn't. I couldn't rate it lower than Resurrection because I didn't feel like getting trolled online. But I did not like Covenant at all. That CGI alien is like the worst thing ever.
I don't. It's just funny because they did have practical stuff on the sets and they covered it up with CGI, which was weird. And then I don't know. I liked Covenant. The first 2 acts of that movie is pretty good. Like pacing wise, I was like, I'm down. It's fine. And the intensity,
Hmm.
it felt like an alien movie. I don't know. By the 3rd act, though, I was like, wow, the schlop just like, slopped out, bro. They just couldn't put it back together. I don't know what happened.
At least that movie has James Franco burning to death just randomly.
Oh,
You don't remember that?
I forgot. I forgot he was in the movie for 10 seconds.
Yeah, he
I
was
was
in
like,
it.
"Oh, that's her husband."
Yeah,
Kinda, I guess.
it's
And he's like, "Oh," in the cryo chamber thing.
it's very random of that movie. But
Sorry, Franco. No.
I feel like those movies. I like Prometheus obviously a lot more than Covenant,
Right.
but I feel like it's so frustrating just because it's so close to being a perfect movie, like so
Yeah.
close. But I love Ridley Scott to death, but I feel like he's got to learn to take a step back and realize you need to let Damon Lindelof like cook. And because I would
Yeah.
love
Let him.
this,
Yes.
let Damon Lindelof cook because he's done sci-fi before. But I think there was actually I read an article where Lindelof was. I think everyone was asking him a question about the when the scientists take off like their helmets, and everyone's that's the thing that everyone always brings up in Prometheus. It's like,
Mm,
why would they take off their helmets? They're scientists, and I'm like,
yeah.
Damon Lindelof has just said Ridley Scott told me they should take off their helmets, and when Ridley Scott tells you to do something, you do it. So it's
Because what are you gonna do?
yeah. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? No, Ridley. You've only made some of the most influential science fiction movies of all time. I'm gonna.
Exactly.
I don't want to do this, and he's just, you're fired.
Why do you think we're getting a second Gladiator? No one's gonna tell him no. He's just gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, he's just gonna keep doing it. He's gonna, if he wants to make a Napoleon movie where he scales,
Oh my god, bro.
I
Did you see it? I've
no,
never seen that.
I never saw it,
No,
but I'm
no plan
tempted
on
to
it.
watch the 3-hour cut of on Apple TV Plus.
3-hour
There's a
cut?
director's cut on Apple
Oh my
TV.
god. Hello? Did he fall asleep at the wheel? Really?
Yeah, I believe he's senile. I think Ridley. I don't want to say this, and I can't believe we're gonna bring this up like this early in the podcast, but I feel like Ridley is reaching that James Cameron level of, I'm just gonna do my own shit, and I don't care if it's offensive or anything like that. Like, I made so many good movies, and you're gonna eat up the slop no matter what.
I'd be like, yeah, that's true. So can you stop?
Yeah,
Because
can
I
you,
will eat it.
at least Ridley isn't culturally uh, other
I
cultures.
guess it'd be difficult to do it if he just remains in sci-fi. Like he can just like get away with it for the most part. I think.
Yeah, Ridley's just too focused on the religious aspect of Alien, which is the most uninteresting part.
Literally the most uninteresting part of the entire thing.
Yeah, and that's
It's
what I
so on
love
the
of
nose, bro.
that's what I love what Fede Alvarez did, because it's just, I'm gonna bring it back to its roots, but also like pay
Mhm.
respects to like the resurrection, like you said. And I don't think I told you this, but I haven't seen really any of Fede Alvarez's other films.
Yeah, yeah, you didn't.
It's
I really think Don't Breathe is a really good bottle episode thriller. It's really
Mhm.
great. I think that movie is really good. His Evil Dead remake, I thought that was really that you should watch that because that gave me like when I heard he was doing Alien, I was like, okay, we gotta give him a shot because he's
Mhm.
really good at these.
Yeah, I'm definitely, those are on my list for spooky season,
Mhm.
which technically started since we're recording this on September 5th.
Yeah.
Did it start? I feel like spooky season starts as soon as the Burr months hit.
Yeah, I was gonna say as soon as Target decides they want to put out the
Yes,
Halloween stuff in August, that's when it's all
that's,
spooky season apparently.
yeah. I like that you said Target and not Walmart, because Walmart will actually, they'll
Yeah, yeah,
put it
the
up in
wait.
June. Like
They'll
back
do it earlier. There's
it's like back to
they almost
school.
forgot when the holidays are. Like,
As someone that worked at Walmart for 7+ years, you get that freight in July. So
do you
sometimes
ever have
you,
a moment?
hmm?
Do you just stand in front of the freight? Just
Yes, and I just sit on and I just stand back there doing nothing. But yeah, you saw Alien Romulus.
yeah, I did. I did. The most recent, according to my letterbox, is The Wind Rises, one Hayao Miyazaki. That movie curb stomped my heart to the max. It just said, "Hey, is this your heart?
Doesn't
Take
he?
that."
Doesn't he do that with every movie?
Yeah. What a dick. I'm not your son. No.
It's funny because my mom just recently watched The Boy and the Heron, and she didn't like it.
I love that movie.
She didn't like
Oh,
it,
I get it.
and
Every time people are like, I don't like it, I get it.
but she actually likes The Wind Rises more. Like, she doesn't own very many Blu-rays, and that's like the one movie that she owns.
That's so interesting. What like a random because it's that one's not like super well known. I don't think across his like filmography like to people as far as
Mhm.
like the mainstream ones, right?
Yeah, I think it's, that was, The Wind Rises was supposed to be like his last movie. Well, he keeps saying
Oh,
every movie since 2016 is his last movie, but
do you think he's? Oh, they keep bringing me back. I'm like, I think you just keep coming back, sir. I don't want to disrespect you. I just feel like you keep coming.
he's got that boomer mentality. He will never leave the office. Everyone's
He's like,
like,
this is my life.
just leave. Your son can take over, and
I can't let.
I can't.
He's like,
Or,
oh, I have a son. No.
oh jeez.
That documentary was eye opening, bro. I was like, man, I could never be his son. Damn.
It's That's what I love most about The Boy and the Heron, because it feels like that's Miyazaki literally telling his son, "I've created this legacy, but go ahead and build your own." Like,
Yeah.
or maybe that's
The
him.
only way, yeah.
He's, go ahead and build your own. Don't take over Studio Ghibli. Build your own studio.
This is my taking
This,
this to the grave.
I'm taking this to the grave. When I die, it's just gonna burn into flames.
That man will still be making movies from his grave. They're
He
like the
will.
new film from Hayao Miyazaki. It's like 2177 now, and people are like, "Isn't this man long dead now?" He's
He's
still making movies.
It's gonna be that Futurama. He's just gonna be the head in a bottle, and
I honestly,
I'm down.
Futurama, you got a new season. Put that. You better market that. You better get them to pay you for that
Yeah,
idea.
for Hulu.
Putting Hayao Miyazaki in.
Hulu's better pay me for that. But yeah. But what
Here's a free movie pass.
What do you think? Movie.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I thought I really enjoyed it. I think it has the same vibe of like Grave of the Fireflies and everything, like
Mhm.
that sort of pace and like obviously heartbreak and yeah, beautiful. The movie's beautiful. All of his movies are just so good, bro. I don't know. There's something about every time they put food on screen, fire, just any sort of nature thing. I'm like, what is this? What am I watching?
I feel like his movies always feel like a warm hug, but then he's just stabs you
Yeah.
in the heart. Or just
Like
stabs you in the back, where he's just, I'm gonna hug you right now, and then he's just hiding like a little dagger like in the back, and just.
I trusted you. That's where you failed. Oh. Oh.
Oh my god. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are
What was your last
movies.
four watch? Is that part of this?
Oh yeah, maybe I should give my last four.
I know, geez, we spent forever. I'm so sorry. This is a long segment, bro. My bad.
No, you're good. You're good. We're just vibing right now. We're just vibing. But yeah, your last four watched was Alien Romulus, Deadpool, and Logan.
Sometimes I think about dying and Logan, Deadpool and Logan. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a great last four watch. But my last four watched, I was able to go out to the cinema. To the
Ooh,
cinema. To the
Nicole
cinema.
Kidman, the cinema.
Yeah. And I saw the new Coleman Domingo film, Sing Sing.
Oh yeah, what was that?
A film that no one can see right now because A24
Yes.
didn't put it anywhere. Like
yes.
the good thing that I like about Sing is that A24 is doing a lot of free screenings, but the downside with that is that one, it's not making any money, and two, they didn't put it anywhere. Like I literally got lucky that the independent theater like right down the street from me was playing it. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go to right now because I don't know if it's gonna be gone like next week. And Sing, I feel like I went into it with some expectations because all my mutuals are like
Mhm.
telling me this is the best movie of the year. And I do think it is a good movie and it is probably one of the best of the year, but I don't know, I feel like that kind of hindered it a little bit, if that makes sense. Where I knew what to expect a little bit in a way,
Right.
but I like the themes of Sing because I always appreciate movies that show art as like a healing aspect
Mhm.
of someone's life. Like someone's like in a rough patch and they use art to lift themselves back up. I
Right.
don't really want to spoil too much of it, but Sing is really about the Sing Penitentiary and their drama group, and they put
Mm.
on plays. And Coleman Domingo is plays one of those prisoners that basically heals himself through art. And I think it's really well made. I think I don't know. It feels like a warm hug just because, like I said, I love it when art can heal people, but not
Yeah.
like when we force art upon people. They have to open that door for themselves. Because I'm not sure if you've been around people that don't love movies and they don't watch movies.
Yes.
They're I don't want to put these. I'll just say it. Those people are miserable. And I've tried to make a goal for myself to watch at least one movie every single day because I
Mhm.
want to watch 365 movies on Letterboxd. I broke that a little bit just because of depression, but
Help.
but I'm kidding, by the way. But
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm really not. I'm really sad and saddened. It's just a dark pit of
Help.
despair. But every single movie that I've watched really has enlightened my life, and the more I let art like influence my life, it makes me feel better. And I
Right.
love that you get a movie like Sing that represents that on screen, and that I just wish more people could see it. That's the only thing.
Yeah, because I have a lot of friends who like don't watch a lot of movies, but if I know when I finally show them something like that, and they actually feel the things that I was feeling and stuff, like that's also like a great feeling. And I think I'm assuming that's what Sing is, and that's why I'm also excited to if they ever show it down here, like hopefully go see it.
Yeah, well, don't feel bad if it's not playing because it's not playing really anywhere. I think it's
Like
playing in like
DD,
it's not. I thought she was playing near you, wasn't it?
it is, but it's in a theater that is like so obscure, like it's off, like it's like a 40 to like hour drive from where I live, so it's
Oh,
like
geez. Yeah, that's a bummer. But yeah, Sing, it's good. I don't think it's as good as some people are saying. Like they're a little bit overhyping it, but that doesn't make it a bad film. And then I saw Blink Twice, the Zoe Kravitz directorial debut, Get Out on an Island, or Coraline on a basically,
I need to see. Yeah, I remember you saying the
yeah,
parallels for this movie.
it's very much Coraline, but I think Blink Twice is fine. I think I'm very much in the minority that didn't necessarily because everyone that I see do videos on or talk about like this movie, they love it and they're like, "Oh, Zoe Kravitz can do no
Right,
wrong," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's masterfully directed, but I feel like watching it, it's almost a little bit too literal in certain scenes." And
right.
I hate it when filmmakers do that because it feels like the filmmaker is insulting my intelligence, even though I'm a dumb anyways. But it's just I don't know. I feel like this might be a little bit controversial to say, but like this film is known for the trigger warning that plays, like it's literally a title card, like right before, and
Yeah.
I feel it's necessary for them to put that in. But I feel like the only reason they put that in is because this movie doesn't necessarily have anything to say. I don't know.
Ooh,
Maybe that's a hot. Maybe is that Thanos?
yeah,
Oh. He wants to be on the podcast.
he's okay. You want to come,
uh,
buddy?
I don't
He's like
know.
outside right now because he's had to run around.
I just I don't want to put this film down because I think it's really good. I think Channing Tatum is really great in it, and
Hmm.
I don't know. I think all the performances are really good, and I want to see more of what Zoe Kravitz can do. But I just feel like she's capable of better, to be honest. But I don't know.
Would you say it's a solid like debut though? I think. Are you interested to see what she comes up with next, or
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a solid debut, and I just want to see what she does next. And also, it's like all these. I don't know. I just I feel like debuts like are more impressive for me. Like when you see someone like completely outside like the system make
right?
like their debut, and oh wow, this is what this person can do. That really put everything on the table. Zoe
Yeah,
Kravitz has been working in the industry for how long, and
right, right.
she's worked on film sets, so I'm pretty sure she picked up stuff from other filmmakers she worked with. So I feel like it diminishes it a little bit. Not trying to put her down at all, but it's just
I don't know.
it. I
I mean,
feel
that's
like
how I feel about that Anna Kendrick movie that's coming out. She like directed it. There's a level where yeah, because they've been working at it for how long, right? So it's I don't even say it's not as impressive, but it's not. There's a word for it, I'm sure. But
yeah, I'm not trying to be a dick or anything. Maybe I am, but I don't know. I feel it. I do want to see what she does next. But yeah,
yeah,
but perfect companion piece to Blink Twice. I saw Coraline, the 15th
yes,
anniversary. I think I think it played for a week or two. This is the first time I saw this
yeah.
in theaters in 3D since it originally released in 2007, 2009,
Damn, I want to
15.
say 9, so I don't feel
Yeah,
as old. But
yeah, 2009, 15 years, 2024. I can do math. Uh,
damn.
but 15 years makes me feel really old. Like I hate seeing like all these movies have like their 15-year anniversary or 20-year anniversary and it just makes me feel ancient. But
You just look
Coraline,
at your hand, it starts fading. You're like,
yeah, Marty McFly from Back to the Future. But Coraline's still good. It's fantastic.
yeah.
And the reason why I did a video on this on TikTok.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you saw it because no one sees my videos, but
Help, send it to me. It doesn't always
but
pop up on my feed.
I see it as I see Coraline and Blink Twice like interesting companion pieces because it's like they're both.
Mhm.
Well, you haven't seen Blink Twice, right? It's the sort of a
No.
spoiler, but not really. But they're both necessarily They're both films that kind of like prey on people's like desires. Like Coraline
Mm,
in basically the other mother is, oh, you're leading such a boring life. Come to my world where I'll take care of you. And then Blink Twice, like the main character in that, she's lured by Channing Tatum to this island because he promises like all these great things and you're going to party like all the time and do all these drugs.
yeah.
And it turns out that no spoilers for Coraline or even Blink Twice, that it's not really all sunshine and rainbows. But obviously there's different subject matter in Blink Twice. Like it's definitely like that it it earned its R rating or like
Okay.
PG-13 rating. I think it's rated R, but I still think Coraline and Blink Twice are similar on that level where it's preying on
Okay.
our desires. But I don't know. Coraline's great. Everyone should go watch it. I love stop motion. I saw the trailer for Wildwoods. It's coming out next year.
Yeah.
Oh,
God, that movie.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. Is any of the are all the animators okay? Jesus. I was like, my god, dude. I don't even know how.
Yeah, I don't even know how. Speaking of that, because for the 15th anniversary screening for Coraline, there was a
Mhm.
behind the scenes like right after the movie talking about how they
Oh.
remastered Coraline. I didn't even notice the changes that they made until they told me at the very end. They literally, because if people don't know, stop motion is like when you use ball and socket armatures
Mhm.
and you put clay or even I like how I'm telling you and you already know, Tyler, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the Coraline's 15 years old, so those
Mhm.
dolls were decaying over years. So they used like technology and AI technology to rebuild Coraline, and it's real cool because it's really cool, but also it probably took them months just
Right.
rebuilding like all these dolls and then reshooting like those scenes with the new characters and dolls. It's
Oh, they reshot stuff
They
too? Oh
reshot
my
certain parts of it.
jeez.
It's insane. It's literally insane.
Yeah.
But I think it's crazy that like the dolls were decaying.
Right.
Like just because it's 15 years ago, like they were
Yeah.
using different types of technology, but I think you could find that documentary like on YouTube. I think they posted it on their YouTube like as
Okay.
YouTube channel, so you can check it out. But it's really fascinating. Like they were talking about how they like changed Coraline's hair, how she has like blue streaks in it instead of
Mhm.
just straight blue. But I love Leica because
Oh.
it's just fantastic. Stay tuned for later this year. I might have a little feature on Leica. Like
I would like that a lot. I hated that.
and the
Can
podcast.
can you cut that?
No, I'm leaving this all
Can you
in,
edit that
by the way.
out?
I'm leaving this all in.
Take it out.
And then that's what she said. But yeah, Coraline's really great. 15-year anniversary. I feel really old. But another movie that made me feel real
Mm,
old. It also turned 20 years old this year. Saw
what
Shaun
is
of the
it?
Dead.
Oh yeah, they re-released that one too. 20 years.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I specifically watched this one because I made a guest appearance on the No More Late Fees podcast with Jackie and Danielle.
Mhm.
So I don't know when. I think this podcast will probably be out before that episode, but check that one. Check that episode out. Shaun of the Dead is also real good. Like I had a banger week for my last one I watched.
Yeah.
Like I watched cinema.
I only watch cinema.
But Shaun of the Dead's really great. I think the visual comedy that Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg cooked in that movie because
Every
I
time I
like.
see that, oh my bad.
No, go ahead.
That oneer, every time I see the behind the scenes on it, I have to watch the whole video because it's super in. I was like, I can't believe they shot that. It is crazy how they choreographed that entire thing, like
Yeah,
twice.
and it's crazy how Shaun of the Dead basically there's so much setups, and then there's so
Hmm.
much payoffs throughout the entire movie. Like that opening sequence is the opening sequence basically sets up like what the entire movie is like about, like with these characters,
Right.
and it's all in that bar, and it's just people like talking back and forth, but also uses comedy and we'll get into it with the main movie that we're talking about today, but I feel like it's very rare for movies to come along that makes you feel literally every single emotion. Like it makes me
Yeah.
laugh, it makes me cry. I can be angry at it too because of some of the things that the characters do. It's very rare for movies to make me feel literally every single emotion, and Shaun of the Dead does that. It's just because I was my heart was getting ripped out like in that third act. Like when Ed's character is basically, "Hey, I'm gonna let you go free. We don't have to be best friends forever, and just I don't want to hold you back." And I'm like, "Oh my god!" but yeah, Shaun of the Dead, really great. Not my favorite of the Cornetto trilogy.
Do
Hot
you like
Fuzz
At
is
Worlds and
Hot Fuzz.
oh, it's Hot Fuzz.
That's
Yes, you.
that,
I think you mentioned this before.
that's my favorite one. Edgar Wright just cooked like
Yeah.
the action sequence in the third act. Jesus, it's so good.
That movie also has the jumping the fence thing that I love. That is just like in every single one of them, and it's just I don't know why that one specifically from that movie. I always that's whenever I think of that joke, that running joke. It's that movie first that I think about the fence jumping over the fence, and I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know what I think about that too, but I love that movies can have their own little thing to it. Jumping over the fence or even the Cornetto ice cream and how each one is different colors too.
Oh yeah,
Shaun of the Dead, I think it's a cherry Cornetto
yeah,
because it's blood. And then there's a red, white, and blue, which is for the police and stuff like that, or blue
yeah.
and white. And then at World's End, I think it's green because aliens. But
I
I don't
think right. Well,
I
I
don't like At
don't
World's
know that
End.
one.
I think that's my least
Oh
favorite one.
really?
I
Dang, I
It's the
like that
one I
one a lot.
revisit. It's the one that I revisit the least, to be honest. I think having Simon Pegg and Nick Frost swap roles, it threw me off a little bit. I wasn't ready for that. I'm so used to have Nick Frost being like the comic relief, but I don't. And Simon Pegg being like the off kiltered character
Right.
doesn't seem right. He kind of seemed like an asshole, very much like an asshole.
I think that's why I liked it. I was like, this is weird.
But I just like Simon Pegg so much, so I don't want him to be an asshole. And plus, he's a good guy in like real life too. But not like I met him. But Simon Pegg, call me.
Simon Pegg, my best friend. I heard he's a good guy.
Yeah, Simon Pegg's my best friend. Sorry, Tyler, but but yeah, that was my last four watch. That was our last four watched. I know we're like 50 minutes in.
I just
This
looked at the
first-
time. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
You haven't even got to the movie yet. So
Yeah,
funny, bro.
but no, but that was our last four watched. Let us know
Mhm.
your last four watched in the comments down below, or don't let us know your last four watched.
Fine, we don't want to know them.
We don't want to know. but
Keep that to
Tyler,
yourself.
but Tyler, shall we get into a review for everything,
Of yes,
everywhere,
everywhere. Yes.
all at
At,
once?
no.
That did not work,
No, but it's fine. It kind of.
but let's do it.
Mrs. Wang. Mrs. Wang.
Mrs. Wang, are you with us?
I am paying attention.
Now, you may only see a pile of receipts, but I see a story. I can see where this story is going. It does not look good.
That was a clip from the trailer from Everything Everywhere All at Once, released in 2022, directed by the Daniels, also known as Daniel Quan and Daniel Scheinert. Hopefully I said that. It stars Michelle Yeoh, Stephanie Hsu, Kihi Kwan, James Hong, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jenny Slate, Harry Shum Jr., and I don't think am I forgetting anyone, Tyler? I
I
think so.
think so. I hope we're not.
I hope not.
Sorry.
This film was nominated for 11 Academy Awards, taking home 7 gold trophies at the end of the night.
Yes.
Tyler, I'm just going to read the synopsis here from the internet because I want you to because I saw a lot of synopsis of this movie
Mhm.
or synopses of this movie. I think that's the plural.
Yeah.
And none of them are great. None of them are great. This one's from Letterboxd. An aging Chinese immigrant is swept up in an insane adventure where she alone can save what's important to her by connecting with the lives she could have led in other universes.
Half the movie ish.
Yeah, I feel like that was, out of all the ones, I feel like Letterboxd hit the nail on the head for that, because all the other ones were like, oh, this crazy wacky sci-fi. I'm like, science fiction, but not really. But Tyler, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I know we've been trying to do this episode for a really long time, and I feel like you were the only person that I wanted to do this episode with, because you have a pretty special relationship with this movie, right? So you want to just
Yes.
let us know your like initial reactions for the first time you saw this?
Yeah, like the first time I remember when the trailer dropped. I think this is when, I don't know if No Way Home and all that started, like all this multiverse stuff started coming up. So like this movie came up, was like, oh, we have a take on this multiverse thing. And I think a lot of people were, what is this weird movie or whatever. And even when it got released, I had watched it. I had to watch it at like an Alamo Draft House or something. Oh
Mhm.
no, it was an AMC, it was an AMC. They weren't
Heartbreak
playing
feels
it
good in a
at
place
all
like this.
theaters. Yes, Kidman was there somewhere, even if she wasn't, she was.
She was there in your heart.
Or behind me.
She's
Yeah, I remember.
just breathing heavily.
Jesus. I'm like, yeah, I know, I heard you. You said it already. Can you leave me alone? Yeah, I remember I watched it. I had watched it by myself, and I think it was I think that's the first experience I had with a movie where like, because usually when I'm like crying, like I cried, it's like at home, but this is the first time in a movie theater where like I was like, oh my god, I'm crying, like I can't hold it in, and everybody was like sniffling and crying. I was like, okay, I guess this is safe, like great. And the movie is wild, like it is everything everywhere all at once. It is literally everything that I think I want in a movie. It's funny. It has, there's Asian people, and that's great. I love that. It's action, like it's so many like great like callbacks to movies that like I love and I grew up with, like Wong Kar Wai, and then there's also just like Jackie Chan-esque like fights and stuff. And then Michelle Quan, and also it's just a win all around, right? Because Ke Huy Quan, I remember him from the Goonies and the second Indiana Jones, which was arguably it's not as bad as people are saying, but
Ke Huy
not the
Quan
best.
definitely makes Temple of Doom worth watching.
Yes.
Because I actually rewatched that movie rather recently. I don't know for
Mhm.
what. I probably just felt like watching it for some reason because I wanted to watch racism on screen. So,
Like,
kidding.
I want some racism on my screen right now.
No,
I'll feel the mood today.
I don't know, not to do a tangent, but Temple of Doom obviously is like very racist because of the whole like South Asian like Indians that are represented in Temple of
Yeah.
Doom. But did you know, like a friend of mine told me, like when he watched it, like he
Right.
was trying to figure out like what they were saying. They're not saying anything in that movie.
That
Like
makes it even
it's just
worse.
gibberish. It's just gibberish. And I'm like, oh my god. I used to like
Whoa.
this movie and now I hate this movie because it's so bad.
Okay, I retract what I said. I retract what I said earlier. I thought it was okay. I guess I didn't know that. Wow,
It's
that movie just
okay.
keeps getting worse.
I
Oh,
used to don't retract your
oh.
statement because I've actually gone on record saying I love Temple of Doom, and then my friend told me that, and I was like, "Oh Jesus, maybe I don't love this movie that much." So,
My bad. Oh, I'm sorry, guys.
but yeah, Everything Ever at Once, we've definitely made progress because Asian people are on screen speaking their languages, and
Oh my god, when we start talking about that, yeah, when we get to breaking down the movie, like
mhm.
even the way that we'll talk about it. But yeah, just my first experience was great, and then Ke Huy Quan was there, Stephanie Shu was there, and they were like, it was, to me, for the most part, I think they were like lesser known names.
Mhm.
Even like Ke Huy Quan's been there, but it was so great to even, and once he got the Oscar and stuff, like, dang, look how far this journey has come. And even on a meta level, like this movie about people who are not content, but they're just so okay with who they are
Mhm.
and the people that they're surrounding themselves with, and like to see that also play out in the Oscars, like he just like no matter what happened in his life, even if he didn't if he didn't make this movie or whatever, he was like okay.
Yeah,
And that's I don't
I
mind more,
just
man.
love the resurgence that he's getting, Kihi Kwan, just because one, it's like every word that comes out of that guy's mouth is just like a warm hug. Even if he's not like talking, like he's always talking like sentimentally, but it's just I just want the best for this guy. And seeing him in Loki season 2, even though I don't like Loki all that much, but
I just started watching season 2. I was like, okay, I like this. I kind of like the show a little bit. The second season,
well,
and just seeing him specifically, I was like, this is interesting.
even though the character that he's playing is basically just Waymond Wang, but
Which is fine.
yeah, it's fine. But the Daniels did it first. Marvel, quit trying to.
They're like, we were gonna let them do a movie. They said no to us.
I think they want to do a Marvel movie. I think they've gone out and
I
said.
don't think they should. Yeah.
I know that they've got that Skeleton Crew. I think they directed the pilot for that one, which I'm actually excited to see. But yeah, but my initial reactions, I have a weird relationship with this movie because you were in LA at the time, Tyler, when you saw this, like you said, and I always have being from Sacramento and being in like the middle of nowhere essentially, and I see like all my friends like in LA, I see all these movies that I want to see like before. There's a little FOMO there. And I'm just like, oh man, I want to see this movie so bad, and all my friends are talking about it. And I think I saw this 3 months after you saw it, and I'm just like, oh damn. And I took a date to the theater, and she hated it. She hated everything. Like when I was like, red flag immediately because I absolutely love this movie. Like when I first watched this, and I was just. I don't think I've ever had an experience. I know a lot of people like to compare this movie to like The Matrix, where it's just it's like literally like drinking from the fire hose. Like the Daniels held like a fire hose and just sprayed us all, and we're just like, I'm just gonna take all this in. I know that can be very overwhelming for a lot of people, but I absolutely loved everything about the movie, and all at once. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but
I'll take it again all at once.
But yeah. No shade to you, Tyler, but it's just I think I don't know. I didn't want to get spoiled for this movie. I was trying to avoid any trailers. I only saw that first initial teaser trailer, and I had prior history with the Daniels. I remember seeing the Turn Down for What music video, which is insane, literally insane.
Masterpiece, absolute masterpiece.
My mom showed me that trailer initially. She was like, "You're gonna like this," and I'm like, My mom.
Do you want to know a fun fact about that music video?
Well, go ahead.
Their original pitch, the ending of the video was supposed to end in a Taco Bell. And that was part of their whole pitch. They had a pitch deck of it, and like at the end of their pitch deck, the whole music video ends with them falling into a Taco Bell, and it was supposed to be like this pseudo like Taco Bell commercial, and that was kind of part of the joke too. Taco Bell was like, no. They're like, no, we're not gonna take that silly shit in here. We're serious. Like
we're so serious. We put a taco inside a burrito. So
we put a Cheez-It inside of a Crunch Wrap because we're serious.
We are so serious.
We have Baja Gelato now because we're serious.
But we can't have boobies hitting people and shaking around
to the beat of an amazing song.
Very amazing song. And then I've seen Swiss Army Man 2. I really enjoyed that one. I saw that one in the theaters just because I love Daniel Radcliffe, being a Harry Potter fan. And I was just like, I was a little disappointed that Daniel Radcliffe was just farting the entire movie, but in a way, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
He said Expecto Patronum, and then just, like, oh.
This podcast
Leviosa. He's like, I'll give you Leviosa.
This podcast is terrible.
This is the worst episode.
No, it's amazing. It's everything, everywhere. We're putting everything on a bagel for this episode, and
sesame seed.
We're getting sucked into it.
Olive oil. We're getting sucked off in this podcast.
Oh Jesus!
Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
Too far.
Is that where you're not live? My bad. We gotta get back to it. Here we go.
But yeah, like I said, I saw this I took a date, and she absolutely hated it, and I was just like, no, I don't think we can see each other anymore. So And this is why I stay single forever, just because I take so many people. This is why I go to movies like alone too, because I see
Right.
movies with other people and I see them in totally different ways, and I'm just like, I don't know. But I love this movie the first time. But the reason why we're doing this podcast is one, it's in the Letterboxd Top 250. It is number 145, which get it up there, Letterboxd users. I know there's a bunch of
That's
you
too
on.
low.
I know there's a bunch of like haters out there on the freaking internet. They're like, "Oh, it won 7 Oscars and this is mid. I want to watch Avatar: Way of Water."
uh, is
Uh,
Avatar on that list on the 250?
I think so.
Why?
I'm very disappointed. I'm gonna have to watch it.
Uh, who said it was okay to put it on there?
But yeah, I just lost my train of thought.
I'm so sorry.
No,
You said Avatar and it was over, bro.
yeah, it was over. It was in the podcast. But yeah, we both watched this for the A24 IMAX revisited. So, what was like our reactions rewatching this movie, especially in IMAX? I think you watched it in IMAX,
In
but,
IMAX.
but
Yeah, I don't think there's a single one in Hawaii that has the true IMAX. But I mean, it was big.
mhm.
So she said it was a big screen. Yeah, I think even as soon as like the sun looks, like the music starts coming in, and like I was already crying. I was bawling because I was like, "Oh my god, I'm about to watch this movie that made me want." Every time I would feel, I said this in my TikTok, but every time I feel like, do I want to be doing this? Do I even want to try to be making movies? As soon as before it even starts playing on screen, the music just comes in. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my god, I'm in. This is why. This is everything. Everywhere all at once. This is everything that I want to be doing, bro.
I love it when movies. I love it when movies can do that. Can just ignite like a spark like in
Mhm.
you and can bring back like your passion for creating. I think what I really appreciated though about this movie on a rewatch, especially in IMAX, like one, like it was remastered in a really brilliant way. You actually filled up the entire screen.
Mhm.
Mainly, I think I've
Yeah.
always been against IMAX movies is because when I saw The Dark Knight and how it was only shot in certain scenes and the rest of the time it was like it's shrunk down. Yeah.
Yeah. The
I
letterbox, like
I think I've been scarred for life ever since that. And I understand movies have changed and technology has
Mhm.
changed, so you can fill the whole aspect ratio now because you can film like an IMAX movie like on your phone now, which is crazy. But
right.
I don't know. I think what I appreciated also is that this movie is so important, especially in the year that we're going through right now. And
Mhm.
I really, this is why I recommend this movie for anyone that's going through hard. Like going back to saying, it's like we need people that are going through like hard times to see this movie and realize, hey, not like this movie is basically it's nihilism. The movie where it's like
Mhm.
nothing matters, still do what you do, but nothing really matters. So we shouldn't necessarily be hard on ourselves for that. And
Right.
2024 has been a year, and seeing this movie say that is it was really special for me, and I was crying like the entire
Yeah.
time, like literally the entire time.
I like what you said about like that aspect of it. I think that's another thing the movie does a really great job at is because nihilism, I think, it has like that negative. Sorry for lack of a better reference, but Rick and Morty. Anyway, because there's that obvious side, right, of nihilism being like, oh, nothing matters, fuck it all. But they managed to say that, but turn it, and yes, nothing matters, and that's great. That's also amazing because that means you can do anything.
Yeah,
Anything is possible when nothing matters. Like,
yeah, exactly. And it's such a beautiful way to say it. I love that you brought up the whole Rick and Morty, where it's just, I think it's more of like the whole Dan Harmon of it all. Dan Harmon, I
right,
think he's
right.
definitely changed since then, but he's definitely, oh, fuck it all. We're all gonna die in this planet that's warming up every single second. But,
Right,
but the
right.
Daniels are like, yeah, we're gonna die, but you can still watch some movies and make whatever you want and be whoever you want to.
Enjoy while we're
I know the planet is warming up, but I like barbecue. I like barbecues just like Dominic Toretto. Family.
No way. Oh my god, you somehow did it.
I
You're
did,
like,
I did it.
it's a superpower, dog. You did it.
Very much a superpower, but
You like slipped that in. I didn't even see it coming. That's what she
that's what
said.
she said.
That's I did it.
But yeah, this movie is incredible. In case people are an hour in, they're like, and people want to know what we thought of this movie. We love this movie so much. If you hate this movie, you need to go die. But also need to watch this movie. And
This I will say this is the one movie, because for the most part I've come to a point later on that this has taken time, but if someone has an opinion about a movie, that's their opinion. But this movie is the only movie where I'm like, if you don't like this movie, you are actually wrong. You are absolutely wrong.
because I've talked to some people like at work that saw this. I told them that I saw this movie and rewatched it like for I can't remember how many times I've seen it at this point. It's basically a
Right.
part of my life. And they're like, "Yeah, I've heard of that movie. I've seen like clips online." And I'm like, "Dude,
Ugh.
I want to just die
No.
a little bit inside." But yeah, Tyler, should we get into some notable facts about this movie?
Yes.
If you have anything to
Um,
bring up that I didn't write down in our notes,
What do you mean? This is all not scripted. We're so good.
it's totally not scripted. We were like going off the cuff.
Off the cuff, bro.
Yeah, but as I
Bar for
mentioned,
bar.
introducing this movie was nominated for 11 nominations in for the
Mhm.
2023 Academy Awards. It won 7 of those, including Best Film Editing, Best Original Screenplay, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, which is a little controversial. We can talk about that maybe a little bit. Best Director or Directors, because the Daniels. Best Actor, Best Actress, and then the whole enchilada, Best Picture.
That's
What,
right.
what was your? I think I text you like when they won. What was like your feelings? Because this literally was like the little indie movie that could, and you don't really see that a lot at the
Yes.
Academy Awards. And
Almost never. I don't. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think like you talk a lot about representation on your pages, and I think like that obviously was like really important as well. But I think just seeing like a movie like you saw it like in this small AMC, like just in
Mhm.
LA, and like just a certain part of LA that probably no one really knew was playing, and it went all the way to like the highest possible stage that you can be on. I think that's
Like,
incredible. So
it felt like we were part. I think that, yeah, that's crazy that you brought that up, because yeah,
Mhm.
that's what it felt like. Like, I was like with this movie from the very start. Like,
Mhm.
and I can only imagine what the filmmakers were feeling when like they finally got up there. But yeah, I don't. When I got to, I remember. I'm so glad you texted too, because I think I had texted X at the time, was already like, she was like already done with. But we were still together, but I think she was done. But like, because I remember I texted and she was
I'll
like,
cut
"Oh,
it
that's
out.
cool.
I'll cut that
That's
out.
cool. No, that's fine. Leave it in. Leave it in." Yeah, but
I'm not
anyway, I
gonna
was just
edit
like,
this at all. This is gonna be a
she's like, "There's more important things at hand than this movie." I'm like, "Yeah, there really was." But like, it was nice that like you had texted, because there was like, I even was texting someone like my film buddies, but like they were like, "Oh, that's cool," but no one was like excited except like you and like some of the people that I met through TikTok and like um that community. So like, I think when it won, it was like, I don't know, it felt like a weird dream. I don't even know. It wasn't even my movie necessarily, but it felt like a win for all of us somehow.
yeah.
It
And
just, it was great.
and part of my worry a little bit too for it winning Best Picture, especially, is
Mhm.
usually like when movie. I've seen this article like pop up like the day after by someone that I actually pretty much respect within the film space. They wrote it really. It's really well written. Maybe I'll link it in the show notes.
Okay, yeah.
But it's they mentioned, hey, like most Best Picture movies that win usually are forgotten, like The Artist. Remember The Artist? Remember that movie? Or Crash?
Right.
Does anyone talk about
No.
that? So I think what makes
Ugh,
me happy,
crap.
I think what makes me happy about 2 years out and seeing 2 years from that, or at least a year because 2023, that's when they won. But
Mhm.
I think it meant a lot because my IMAX screening, it was pretty full, and people generally still love this movie, even though on Twitter
Mhm.
people like that. Yeah, we don't talk about those people, but I don't know. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once is definitely going to be different for sure. So
I also say it was awesome seeing editing win, especially because, and this is like a fact that everyone knows about. Oh, it was a team of 9
Hmm.
VFX people, which 2 of them are the Daniels that
Yeah.
included them. So it just reminded me of Rocket Jump and those days, or even like when we were making YouTube videos, right? That's the same vibe. This silly, you had to learn After Effects for certain things and all that stuff just to make this thing happen, and to see that win an award
Hmm.
just made it like, oh, so this is possible. Like, I'm not just making these silly videos that gets 10 views or whatever. One day I'm gonna make one that gets a fucking Oscar.
It was edited in Adobe Premiere, right?
I believe so, which I'm so sorry they had to do that.
Yeah,
Before,
right.
sorry.
I love
Any sponsor I was gonna get from Adobe, sorry, but
Adobe. Fuck off. That's what I'm saying. I'll leave that in. Like, I'm so sick and tired of your monthly subscription. Just let me pay for your software upright. It's so
like one
ridiculous.
time, please, right?
Or just let me pirate it like I did in college. But I'm sorry, but I'll pay
I'm
you back
not-
eventually.
That was half. That was most of my high school and going into like.
I used to. We can cut this out maybe, but what I used to do is I used to go to the school computers and put
Yeah.
and get my flash drive and load it on there.
Marley, you're not the first dog.
No, I'm not clearly, but
Me too.
but I can't do that anymore because I gotta have a stupid account and a subscription. Everything is a subscription now. Sorry, that's a whole nother topic. But I do think I think it's real funny when Paul Rogers went up to accept like best film editing at the Oscars. He basically was like, "Oh, he was like so shocked. This is his first movie," which is wild that it's his first movie. But I don't know. I think that's great, but I remember seeing like a post. I think it was like an Instagram post where Adobe was like, "Oh yeah, everything ever all at once. They use Premiere. You should subscribe to Creative Cloud." And I'm like, "Don't do that. We all know that all the editors on this movie probably hated their lives because Premiere crashed constantly."
Or when you had to, I bet you they exported so many sequences where they had to go to sleep and hope to God that thing finishes in the morning. Like,
And then you wake up and it's just error, and I'm just like, could you imagine? You just finished. We'll talk about one of the sequences, like I'm thinking like the Evelyn and Joju fight
yeah.
at like where.
Oh,
Can you imagine like editing that and then Premiere's sorry, I don't recognize.
sorry, I'm just Premiere. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just Premiere. Jeez, what are you trying to make, like an Oscar movie? Oh wait, whoops.
You're not making the next Oscar movie, okay?
Right.
It's me, Adobe. Like, you're.
I promise we'll get into the breakdown, but there's one more Academy Award that is. We've already talked about Quan. He's great. Michelle Yeoh finally getting her flowers is great.
Right,
but let's talk about Best Supporting Actress. That everyone, I feel like, in a way, it was unjustified giving Jamie Lee Curtis hate for getting this Oscar. But
I don't hate her. I just don't like that the Academy decided that was.
Yeah, especially on a rewatch, Stephanie Hsu, what she's doing in this movie. Like,
yes,
Jamie Lee Curtis is barely in this movie. She's not even supporting. Like, she barely is supporting this. And I'm like, I get it. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis, she's been in the industry. I'm pretty sure if Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in that category, it would have gone to Stephanie Hsu. Or who else was nominated in that category? Damn it. Are we gonna have to Google? Are we gonna have to Google right now?
No, I'm not Googling.
I am not asking ChatGPT. Whoops.
Oh no.
But I really think that if Jamie Lee Curtis wasn't in that category, it would have been Stephanie Hsu to win. Just because what she's doing in this movie is... I don't think I've ever seen it from any performance ever. From any actor.
No.
And I felt that frustration a little bit, especially on a rewatch, where I'm just like, this should have been... It's almost like the Academy was just like, all these Asians, you can win, except for you, Stephanie Hsu. You're too young. You'll get yours eventually. Got to give it to the person.
That's what. See, and people were like, "That's not what it was." No, That's exactly what it felt like. I was like, I don't know. I just felt they decided to do a Leonardo DiCaprio now. Oh, it's been so long. We gotta finally give. I'm like, now you want to do it for this one?
Yeah,
I was like, this doesn't even make sense.
it doesn't.
Jamie Lee Curtis is great in it, but it doesn't make sense when you have Stephanie Hsu right there. That whole last sequence, that whole speech in the parking lot. Hello, what? Zero sense.
Stephanie Hsu is playing 55 different characters in this entire movie.
Yes.
And I'm just like, and I don't know. I tried to retroactively basically try and agree with the Academy a little bit. And like the Academy usually tries to award performances where actors go through change. And I'm like, Jamie Lee Curtis, yeah, she does go through a little bit of change, but not really. She's still like a mean old bitch at the end, but
yeah.
And but not to the extent Stephanie Hsu goes through change and what she went through with like her mother, like in this movie, and how she healed that relationship. I cry my eyes out every single time, like at that scene. It's heartbreaking, but also a warm hug. It's like good tears, very good tears. So
yes,
but I don't know what you think about this whole Jamie Lee Curtis.
Fuck Jamie Lee Curtis. No.
No, she's cool.
I do. I think she's fine. Like
I think her speech because I rewatched like all the speeches before doing this podcast just because I wanted to relive like that moment. I feel like her speech is like perfect because she basically says that she wouldn't be here without anyone in the cast. Yeah. And I feel like what makes me feel good about the win is that seeing anyone really win from this movie is a win, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And also, if you go back and watch like her, like Jamie Lee Curtis walking up, Stephanie Hsu is happy for her too. She's, oh my god, it's like, because she probably watched Halloween growing up. And, and just a huge fan of her. But I don't know. I think Stephanie Hsu will have many other chances, but
I hope so. I hope they like don't like forget about or like just stop. I loved her in Joyride. That movie's funny.
It's Joyride's pretty funny. It's also funny that it shows Academy nominated Stephanie Hsu, and in the trailer she's like taking a shit on the side of the road. That's exactly what you want, like Academy.
Versatile, range, absolute master at her craft. Just
cinema.
Nicole Kidman is, I know cinema. I'm like, yes, we know. You said that, Nicole. Stop.
You said it multiple times, and we know after sitting through 30 minutes of trailers, and then
you
Jesus. But yeah, this film also grossed a total of $143 million worldwide on a $25 million budget. This film, I remember this film was just in theaters just forever too. Shout out to A24 that just kept this movie going.
They like re-released again, and then the IMAX.
Yeah. Which I don't know. Shout out A24. I think this I think it's the best movie they ever produced. Just saying.
I think it is. I think it's their biggest moneymaker too. They need to hurry up and get that merch back in that store. I know you guys are like, oh, go on the wait list, but it's not coming. I know it's been months. I want my googly eye A24 shirt.
I want my hot dog finger.
I want my hot dog fingers. I can get anywhere. I want my googly eyes because I can't get them at Walmart apparently or Target.
Yeah, Target. I think Halloween costumes are going to be insane this year for everyone's dressing up as Evelyn. Yeah. Do you have any notable facts about this movie that you can remember before we get into the breakdown?
It'll probably come up in the breakdown. Like I have like little like fun movie facts maybe, or even analysis and anal analysis. Sorry. Every time I see analysis, I see that word first. I'm just so sorry. Like I think it's funny.
No,
now you're gonna see it.
Okay, cool. I see it too. Analyze. Let's analyze this movie, Tyler.
And if someone else talking is like super serious about it, I'm like, they're analyzing this movie, bro. Oh. Stop them.
Yeah. We don't have to break down the entire movie,
Mhm.
but there's certain things that I want to bring up. First of all, this opening shot, like, broke literally tears. It's a brilliant match cut, brilliant
Yes.
match slash jump cut. But I love like the opening shot just because you're seeing like this family like through this mirror. I took it as this is its family like at its happiest moments, and then
Mhm.
the jump cut and match cut like happen, and this is the family as it is now. And this whole opening sequence is masterfully edited, masterfully shot. It's literally every single element in filmmaking being turned up to 11. Like
Mhm.
you like everything that you see is like setting up like characters going back to whole Shaun of the Dead, and you get a feeling of what this family is going through. Like, Evelyn is obviously this stressed out mother running like this laundromat, and then you have Wayman just look googly eyes. It's just like he's dancing
Right.
with the
It's
customers,
aloof. Yeah.
and you see him dancing with the customers, and that's setting up his character, like how he is all about kindness,
Right.
and Evelyn is more like, hey, let's like she wants everything to be like perfect but it's also not like putting down any of these characters. These are who these people are, because I feel like it's such a like a delicate like act to like mention like these characters have flaws, but also not necessarily paint them as like bad people, because I see people like analyze this movie online analyze this movie online, and they're always talking about villain therapy and stuff like that. Like I feel like saying like these characters are villains
Yeah.
is
Missing
not
the
right,
point.
just because it's definitely missing the point. But it's these are just people. Like they're literally just people
Yeah.
like
Yes.
having hard times. Like Evelyn is like trying to cope with like her daughter being a lesbian, and like trying to and Evelyn's, I want you to meet my girlfriend, and she's just like, no, your
Yeah.
grandfather is very just traditional. I don't want it
Right.
to hurt him or anything like that. Everything happens in this opening sequence. Everything everywhere all at once. But what do you think about
Yeah.
this whole
Um
thing?
after watching it a billion times, but even talking about they mentioned in that monologue towards the end about aspects of time, I think it was like as far as set design goes, that beginning part where it's in a mirror, it's literally you're looking at one speck of time where they're enjoying themselves. Like it really establishes that.
Mhm.
Oh, I did want to mention, because I mentioned it earlier, the movie in the beginning, because normally you get like an establishing shot of like where these characters
Mhm.
are, but it actually is done through the set design, and then like the broken English, like they're bilingual, and you're
Mhm.
like, okay, so they're in a. I just somehow knew just automatically that they're in America.
Mhm.
They're struggling because there's all this paperwork and tax forms and stuff like that they're talking about, and movie barely starts as soon as it goes through the mirror, and you're like, I know where we are,
Mhm.
like, and I can feel the stress of being. Because yeah, like you said, they're just normal people struggling, and you feel that immediately. You're like, oh no. But yeah, I did a video on this too, or I noticed on the IMAX rewatch because it was so big. That's what she said. And yeah, she has her back to them a lot because she's so focused on her just getting this situated. She needs to be successful. She needs to make this work. But and then like of course that plays out throughout the movie where there's, I know this is like the one thing that is important to you, but there's a whole universe out there, there's a whole world out there of like people who want to have experiences with you, people who want you to be happy and stuff, and you're missing all of it because you're only looking at this one thing.
Mhm.
um but yeah, the opening, that's like amazing that you picked that up. Like the whole opening sequence establishes everything, every dynamic, every relationship with people. Even her girlfriend, not quite part of the family, but she wants to be there, and she's
Mhm.
trying her best to also be a part of it. But you can see that Evelyn is pushing back on it, whereas
Mhm.
Wayman is very like inviting, and like that says a lot about his character because he knows that everybody comes from different spaces and everything. Like also title cards.
Yeah, I was gonna lead right into it, just because like watching this in IMAX, like the title card where I think Wayman, I forget the line that Wayman says. He asks like Evelyn something, "What's up?" or something like that, and then that's when you get the
Yeah,
everything,
he's, what are you thinking about? And like,
everything, and
yeah,
she just has like taxes just sprawled out across their entire table.
yeah,
I listened to a lot of like Asian creators
Hmm.
like about this movie, and they said, especially I'm not David Chen, the film cast, like he said his family like owned like a laundromat like growing up, and that's or not a laundromat, but just I think it was like a store, like a corner store or something like that, and he says that's like an office for an Asian like Asian business. It's like papers just everywhere, like brilliantly
Yeah.
like set design, and then you get like the title card for everything. Is it part one? Does it say part one?
Yeah. Part 1.
And then you get the gong, which is just like, did you jump at that? I've seen this film like multiple
It was
times.
so loud.
So
Yeah.
loud in
bro.
IMAX. But yeah, everything. And then
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. I thought you were gonna say something.
I had it was there. Okay, I think it's there. Yeah, but as far as that sort of like lifestyle, just known people, I haven't, not my family hasn't quite been like, I don't have the personal experience, but I've known people. I've like even seen businesses where like when you are in your business and people literally live like upstairs from like their restaurant or whatever, that's a lot. Even okay, Bob's Burgers, which I love, it's the same. That's a
Mhm.
lot, dude. Because when you can't separate your home life and your work life and it becomes one thing, I was like, yeah, that's a recipe for that's a lot of stress. Like,
Yeah, for sure. Which I know we spent so much time on this opening sequence, but there's so much that happens that goes on. And it basically just leads this movie just leads into Evelyn just doing taxes for the rest of the movie. That's like,
you just try
and
to do taxes.
yeah, I've seen which as someone that does their taxes, like it is everything that happens in this movie. Butt plugs.
People
Okay,
telling you can't do something, you're like, "Ugh," and then more butt plugs,
yeah.
dildos apparently.
So yeah, the opening sequence, and then we lead, and then that's when it cuts to the government building, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah,
and then we get
and
the first glimpse of like how this whole thing, which I will say this movie does a really great job at establishing its rules, like the rules of the
mhm,
world. Like that's hard. I think especially when it comes to like multiversal things, that can be like really difficult. I will say there's certain Marvel doesn't really do a great job with this, but like most time travel things, like they get like convoluted and stuff. But this movie really does a great job at establishing it, doing what, and then doing that thing. So it's like the plan and payoff,
mhm,
and then explaining more stuff and then also and then showing you how it works. So that's how the movie flows. Tell
mhm.
you, show you, do it again, like over and over.
Yeah, the rules of three.
And
Rules of
it
three.
sounds basic, but
Mhm.
like a lot of people get that wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
like Marvel, Multiverse of Madness. I'm looking at you. Don't.
Doctor Strange, bro.
Oh,
Like Doctor Try Again, bro. Like
this movie. I remember this movie came out right before Multiverse of Madness, and I remember everyone was talking about, oh, dang, the Daniels. Frick.
they annihilated. But I almost felt bad for as far. I was like,
I
I
like
think
Sam
Doctor
Raimi,
Strange, like
but
they tried.
yeah. But did
They
they
just
try?
couldn't.
Did they try? Sam Raimi just made the movie that he likes to make. That's all he did. But yeah, you basically they arrive at the tax office, and this is sets up. Actually, but in the opening sequence, you even get the setup of Wayman holding like the divorce papers because he
Yeah,
sees. I okay. I love the way this movie has what's it have to say about divorce, because Wayman doesn't necessarily hate Evelyn.
yeah,
He just sees it's he just wants her to be happy. So it's and even in all the universes throughout this movie, every single Wayman was really just trying. He just wanted what was best for Evelyn, which is what I absolutely love because it just says numbers about what Wayman
right.
is as a character, and also it's like Wayman and Ki Kwan are basically like the same person at this point. I was just like made that connection just because the way they live life, but I don't know. I just love what this movie has to say about like divorce and just it like it doesn't necessarily mean that both parties necessarily hate each other. Sometimes it's one party is just like maybe it's time for us to like cuz you don't see me as like a person anymore. You just I don't know. It's
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's also like heartbreaking too when I think because when Evelyn finally like figures out what's happening, you can see the hurt in her. I think it's both. You're seeing that's why her acting is so great. But just like, you see both play out. There's a part of her that I do think it's the best thing for us is the divorce, right? But then you see that other part of her that's, but why are you doing this? I also don't want this.
Yeah.
It's just like heartbreaking to watch because you're like, oh, but you're doing all the things that led to this. I know you're saying you didn't see it coming, but you did.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, but also it's also refreshing at the same time to see see a relationship like that go through its struggles and one party just trying to they want what's best for like their partner. But yeah, so I think as they're walking in the IRS office, you get like the whole divorce papers. We already talked about that, and then let's just talk about the elephant in the room, Deidre, the IRS agent that is trying to. What was your reaction the first time you saw this character?
I thought that was like exactly what I pictured that I don't know. I don't know. Like I was like, that's exactly the vibe that I picture that person would give. Like
Funny you said that because one notable fact that I found about this movie is that apparently the Daniels looked up stock footage of an IRS agent and they're like, oh, let's. I think it's like stockphoto.com and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's Jamie Lee Curtis. So I don't know what that has to say what they're trying to say about Jamie Lee, but it's so great.
She does this one thing that I think was like I thought said a lot about a vibe of a person. She was like eating the cookie, and it's such a subtle joke.
Mm-hmm.
She's she like points like the cookie, the little crumbles fall on her, and she just like wipes it off her shirt. Like very ugly to be honest.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. That part was like
it's what white people
summed up her character.
White people. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I'm cutting that out. Oh, we just skipped over a big part. The elevator scene as they're going before they get to Deidre. This is when Waymond, basically Alpha Waymond, just I love the cut where it's basically it's not even a cut, it's just a practical effect of Alpha Waymond entering like a current Waymond's like body or something like that. I love it. Going back to what you said, I love that they explain it, but they also don't explain stuff that's going on, just because it. What I love the most about the elevator scene is that it introduces the possibility of like multiverses, and it's just, if you're not in this movie, then you might as well just leave the theater right now. So it's just, we're going all in. We're going all in. This is what we're doing. And basically, Alpha Waymond comes over and basically tells Evelyn, "Hey, this is how you is it verse jump?" I'm really bad with stuff like that, but
I don't know.
but basically gives Evelyn like all this information, and it's almost Evelyn is like the audience surrogate in a way, where it's just and Evelyn's just, what do I do? What the hell's going on? What'd you do with Waymond? What'd you do with my husband? And then I don't know. I just love like that transition of the way he just head nods and using the umbrella to cover the cameras. You don't want. I don't know. It's wild. But what do you have anything to say about this whole elevator sequence? Or
that too? That's another thing that a lot of I think movies get wrong is they don't understand like. When you're telling a story, you have to. I think it's important to know the perspective that you're telling it from.
Mm-hmm.
And Evelyn is the surrogate for the audience because that's the perspective that we are her. We have to. We're watching everything as it goes for her. I think that's my first. This is the first like sense of like crazy like practical or like the extent that they'll go with for VFX when like they open the elevator, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go into all her memories and stuff and or different universes and all that stuff. That's where I think I started also like really loving this movie because I was like, okay, this is very, speaking of Shaun of the Dead, it's very Edgar Wrighty. Like they're like also very, their craftsmanship for this is like they know like when to use certain things. Like them in an elevator, she's literally she's about to go see God, bro, and then she gets blasted in the face with like knowledge, like as the elevator's going up. I love when it ends too. Waymond just comes back as himself. It's like, oh, that was short.
That's a short elevator ride, and everyone's just, what are you talking about? You literally just dumped an entire thing of exposition on me.
Which is that's what the audience kind of feels like too. Like, what the fuck was that? Like,
Yeah.
hello.
But it's not like a what the fuck was that moment, and you're just like, I'm done with this movie.
Right.
You just want you're glued in. You're glued in,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
you just want to see more. And then going back to Deidre, this is like the whole sequence with her is great. I immediately saw like her Auditor of the Year trophies as butt plugs like initially. I'm like, why is there a butt plug like on set? What is this movie?
And they only confirmed it, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. And just the way like Jamie Lee Curtis is, does she like touch them? She's, oh, this is my most prized possession.
Oh yeah, she like voiced it. She's, you don't get one of these unless you've seen a lot of shit. I was like, the fuck? No.
Yeah. I just love, because I love how simple this movie is. Like we said, it's just Evelyn just doing her taxes, but there's
Mhm.
so much going on. Like it's like you said, it's a multiverse movie. It's like the science fiction movie. It's basically making taxes fun in a way, but
Yeah.
also just completely just life draining as well.
Speaking of that set too, random tangent fact, but
Mhm.
you knew? I think you knew about this too. That they filmed that in, I think it was like an abandoned IRS building or like a mall or office or something, and they repurposed it. And most of the movie is, I think, a chunk of the movie is mostly in that building. They even filmed certain sequences in there just because that just became their film set for everything in that movie, basically. Like
Yeah.
even like green screen shots that they filmed, they just filmed it in there because they might as well. They have the space.
Yeah, just it's such like the indie filmmaking like mindset where it's just, we have this set, so we might as well just use it all
Right.
because we have nothing else. So it's
Yeah.
like, even though
They
this
only gave us
even though this movie had a pretty decent sized budget,
right.
but not Marvel budget, obviously. No movie should have a Marvel budget, but shade. But yeah.
Careful, the mouse will come for you.
Oh, the mouse has already come for me. It's already done for. It's already done.
Oh, because you signed up for Disney Plus? Yeah.
He's
Too soon? Sorry. I think that's fucked up. Sorry, okay, we'll move on. Sorry,
okay. Obviously, Evelyn is doing her taxes and being interrogated by Deidre, and this is the thing that I love the most, and it reveals how she verse jumps by doing something silly and out of character.
Yeah.
And she's reading the notes that Alpha Wayman left for her on the back of the divorce papers that she doesn't know. She doesn't know that they're divorce papers, but she's just like looking at it, and it says, "I'll put your shoes on the opposite foot." What a really clever way of introducing verse jumping. Like do something silly and out of character, and you'll be able to do
but
anything.
not too crazy, right? Because they're like, we're gonna start you off like with the shoe switch, but just letting you know the rest of this movie is gonna be great, like crazy. Like,
yeah, especially what
it's just
Wayman
gonna
has
get
to go
weirder.
through. Especially what Wayman has to go through. Jesus, we'll get to it. But so she puts the just easing her into it. I love that you said it that way. And she has like her earpiece, and it turns green. She breathes slowly.
Yeah.
Such a cool effect, like when she pushes it,
Yeah.
and it just gets pushed all the way back. I think it revealed we saw it in the trailer. And it's just, and then she goes to the closet and sees Alpha Wayman. She's brilliant acting, by the way, by Michelle Yeoh. Whereas you just got freaking pushed back into the closet, and you're just like, oh my god! But it's not overstated or anything like that. It's like in a state of shock, but also what the hell did I just do? But and that this is basically Alpha Wayman saying that she needs her, and she can literally do anything that she can do. And basically, I don't know. What do you think about that whole sequence, Tyler? So
one, just like off of the VFX, like watching that happen, you're like, not anyone could do it, but because they did it in a low budget fashion, but made it look really cool. But yeah, even just that sequence, like doing it in a broom closet to explain more exposition, like I think for some reason it's like funny just seeing that on its own. But this is another thing that the movie again does really great, is like the set design really establishes like whatever broom closet they're in, it's dark. It's not like the rest of the building they were just in. I was like, this is weird, right? And then he explains that they're not in they're in 2 separate universes right now. I was like, okay, cool. Got that. Thanks for not spoon feeding it to me. I figured it out. Thanks, Daniels. Like,
Exactly.
got it.
And I love the way it like switches back and forth. Like you hear like Deidre basically Evelyn, and she,
That was
yeah,
my favorite.
yeah.
She like
And
pops up. She's like,
I just love it. It's just like a blank stare from like Evelyn, like brilliant acting again by Michelle Yeoh. Just it's just like blinking back into his existence. How I like act when I'm talking to an IRS agent, just dozing off into space. And oh, were you talking? So
that was my favorite part. He was like going to autopilot. I was like immediately relatable. I was like, yup.
yeah,
When you just gotta go sit through your day, you're like, just so you can get through it. You're like,
this is how I approach every conversation, including this one. Just kidding. That would be a boring.
the worst podcast, the worst episode. No.
The best.
He was
episode.
mean to me.
The best episode. But yeah, so we get that exposition, and then Evelyn goes back to her regular universe, and we introduce we don't get spoon fed it, but obviously Waymond is the one that was doing all the talking to Deidre, as when Evelyn was like spacing out, and then when Evelyn comes back, that's when they're like, oh, I'll give you until the end of the day to get your shit sorted out. And that obviously, like, we've seen the movie already. That's Waymond talking to Deidre, and regular Waymond, not Alpha Waymond, basically talking to Deidre and saying, give her another chance and just protecting her. It goes back to, like I said, Waymond just wants to protect Evelyn, and which I think is super sweet. And then they leave the IRS office and they go back, but that's when they go back to the Alphaverse, which Deidre is like a super villain in a way. Like she's the only villain in this entire movie, the only legit villain. And that this is when we get the fanny pack fight. Alpha Waymond basically.
Yeah, when that shit kicks off, I was like, holy fuck.
I remember when I first watched this, I was just like, oh, is he gonna fight with his fanny pack? And I'm like, oh my god, he actually is. It's the one time I predicted a movie, and I'm like, I'm so happy that they went in this direction. And I'm like, and it's, I don't know, it's so badass, but it's also so that character as well.
Yeah,
like, just like Asian dad with a fanny pack, and just I know it's very like stereotypical for us to like view like those type of people as like dorks, but this movie makes them look so badass, like those type of people, like so badass. And I love that this movie like shows like that sentiment to like those type of people, but it makes those people look cool and badass. But
I thought the chapstick thing was funny because I've had friends who are like, oh, what are you doing? I'm moisturizing my lips. They're like, why are you doing that? And they somehow made it cool. They made it into literally, I'm gonna use this like chewing bubble gum, and I'm gonna kick these motherfuckers' ass. You know what I'm saying?
I think obviously we're both mutuals with the prop master on this movie, Joshua Bramer, friend of the show, Joshua Bramer. He was on the podcast, but I think he said like the chapstick was like, I think he did a TikTok about it. Do you remember that? If he did?
Yes, I think he did. I don't remember. It's a long time ago at this point, but I'm pretty sure he did.
I think you said it was like gum or something like that.
Yeah,
and I don't know. So
not actual chapstick,
but it goes back to what they set up of like doing something bizarre to first jump to a part of your life where you're like a martial artist or something like that. And I don't know. I love that it was chapstick for Waymond at that point, for Alpha Waymond at least. But such a cool just fight sequence. I just love it so much. But also, especially on a rewatch, felt for this whole family, just because if this was actually happening in a regular universe, I don't know, I would be scared for this family. Like with these cops, I'm like, oh Jesus. Especially in the world that we live in today, I'm like, oh god, please. It scares me so much. But
okay, that's funny that you brought that up, because I also had I think that whenever that sequence comes up, I always think about that. Like but they handled it very well. Like I think I think a lot of those, they keep reusing that one guy, right? Because they're all the fight choreographers, so they reuse them.
Mhm.
But I always think about that too. I was like, had that been in this world, I think this would have gone very, very differently,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And I
And
love that they don't really use guns or anything, and it's like they have batons.
yeah, because I feel like if they had guns, that would take you out of it, to be
Yeah.
honest. But I don't know. I just love that entire sequence where he basically gets like pebbles from like the aquarium and make like basically as a a weight for his fanny pack. It's and just like the way like the sequence ends too. The way the sequence ends where he basically just puts the fanny back around his waist and just does it like so nonchalantly. It's so great. It's so great. Thanos wants to be a part of the podcast.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. It's 2 hours, bro.
You said it was only gonna. I didn't say anything. I made no promises.
But I don't know, we can speed through this a little bit if you want.
It's
Like,
all good.
yeah.
Where are we now? Act 1's very long.
Yeah, Act 1 is very long, but it's basically all set up at this point, setting up
Right.
what is going on. And I do like going back to the whole situation of what they're going through. I wish that they did bring it up when all this ends. Are they gonna? Because they were on the news. Like this family was on the news. An attack at an IRS office. I'm like,
I was like, whatever universe this is, it's over, bro.
it's so over. They don't own a laundromat no more. They're and I just and that's that kind of leads into yeah, they're on the news, and that's how Joy or Joju Tabaki basically is like, oh, something's wrong. I'm gonna go help my family and
Yeah.
see what's going on. This is like at the part of the movie where I love this movie a lot, but there's a lot of parts of it where I'm very stupid about it. Where with the whole Joju stuff, like when I think it was in the Alphaverse, right? Just the Alphaverse and then the regular universe where Joju's at. When she arrives at the I don't know. Stephanie Shu is great. Like the whole like when she goes full Joju at this point,
Yeah.
like she's great throughout this entire movie. Like the whole like when she crosses like the crime scene, the like her this so
She did like limbo.
like you just know like where her character is at this point, and
Yeah.
she deserved that. She deserved that Oscar for sure. But
Stolen.
it's stolen. But yeah, and then where are we at?
This is like right after we find out that Jobu Tabaki is Joy.
Yeah,
And then I think just more where Wayman is explaining to her more of the verse jumping stuff, and then why their whole mission is to stop her.
mhm.
And then because this whole thing, you're like, you got to kill your daughter or something. We got to stop her.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite lines in this entire movie is where is when Wayman Alpha Wayman basically says, "You can either rise up and be who you are, like and be the true self of who you are for like your destiny, or you can lie here and lay on the ground." And Evelyn's just, I'm just gonna lay right here. And
Because like for real at that point, right?
as an audience member, I was feeling that too. I'm just like, no, screw this. Like fanny pack fights, freaking IRS agents that are trying to kill me. Police.
You want to
officers.
divorce me, but you're like this other version of I don't know what's going on.
I'm just like, what is going on? I'm just gonna lie here. I'm gonna take a nap because in the end, that's all we really need. We just need a nap. No, there's just so much with this movie, and I feel like a 2-hour or 3-hour podcast is not gonna be enough to cover everything in this movie. But to speed it up just a tad bit, is there anything that we haven't talked about that is crucial?
The fact that I think when I first watched this movie, the whole everything bagel thing,
Oh yeah.
like I was like, if this movie couldn't get any weirder, right? It's like the whole thing that like that's gonna world end everything is this bagel. Yeah.
I just love that whole bagel situation that Joju created, and she put literally everything on a bagel, like everything just because it's the pressure that Joy was like that Evelyn forced upon Joy, and like you got to be like that
Yeah,
certain person. I love that it's a bagel too, because it literally it could be anything. It could be a person. It could just be like
right.
a metaphorical thing. But I love that the Daniels chose like a bagel. And it's the silliest thing possible, but it's the most serious thing as well.
Yes,
And
both, right?
and I feel like it's one of those situations where it's one of those situations where it it I don't know. It could be. I just lost my train of thought. Go ahead. I'll let
No,
you.
no, you go ahead.
No, you
I
go
didn't have
ahead.
any train of thought. I was listening to you talk about this everything bagel, bro.
But I don't know. I just loved how silly it could have been, but also how serious it actually is. So
And I think that helps with Stephanie. She's like her whole monologue about what this thing is. It's a bunch of it is all her like the tough situation with her mom, but it's also things that are like seemingly not important to most people, like
Mhm.
pictures of my dogs and like sesame seed, just like random stuff. It is everything, like everything that her life has been up to this point is shoved in there,
yeah.
and that's overwhelming, and that's what that bagel is. Also, I don't know if this was intentional, but like when that thing pulsates, I, I know it's supposed to be like a black hole or like a bagel, but
No,
I was like,
stop.
they're
I'm gonna
not
stop
sly,
you right
bro.
there. I'm gonna stop you right.
Daniels, you hard slide. That's a butthole, bro. Like straight
No, it's a Greendale flag.
up.
This is how we loop it all the way back to Community.
Oh
And we just
yes,
spend the rest of this podcast talking about
yes.
Community instead of Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Dan Harmon just turned over his shoulder and smiled. He's like,
And these two guys that are on this podcast, I want to put them in the movie. 6 seasons in the movie.
yes. Oh my god, I totally forgot. Yes, it's happening. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Donald Glover's doing his concert or whatever, but the movie,
I really wanted to go to his concert, but it didn't end up.
I did too.
Is he coming to Hawaii? He's not.
Almost nothing ever comes here because it's too expensive for most people to come down here.
Donald Glover, he's got enough money.
I feel like he likes Hawaii, right? I think
Yeah, I think
he
so.
likes Kauai. He made a whole album called Kauai. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
come on, bro.
But
Come
yeah,
on.
I going back to Joy's like monologue talking about like the bagel. I love that she's really going deep on it, and like when she says like salt, sesame seeds, and then she just starts singing sucked into a bagel, and then it's pulsating like a bubble. But this movie is so great just because, especially on a rewatch, I had this feeling as well, where it's like you're laughing so hard constantly because this movie is absolutely ridiculous, but it's also soul crushing as well, and you're crying your eyes out. So while you're crying your eyes out, you're also laughing. If I had glasses, I would not be able to see the movie because my glasses would be fogged up the entire time. But it's just I just love how quickly this movie turns on a dime, where it's like you're going to be really sad right now, but also butt plugs, also bagels pulsating, also heads exploding, confetti, and this.
And that's what I love. That's what I love. That's on a meta level too. The whole message of that movie is, hey, this shit, yeah, this stuff sucks. Life can be like crazy and it can be overwhelming, but like it's also fun and funny. Isn't it crazy we're on this like rock that like there's people making videos of each other and then putting it up and being like, here's a story. Like that's weird, no?
Mhm.
How like we walk through doors and there's a house even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And
This
Joy
is stony thoughts at this point, but you know
no,
what I'm saying?
and I'm not even stoned. but that's Joy or Jobu, basically like the full. She is like full alphaverse at that point, and she's like just like one within herself, and just like full nihilism at that point. Nothing matters, so I'm gonna just do whatever I want, and
Yeah.
it's. I love like like what you said there. It's like the freedom of doing whatever you want, but also having freedom to do whatever you want is also like a bad thing, because it's like balance. You got to
Right.
have balance like within the universe, just because you can't be walking around with pigs walking into a hallway and just smoking a cigarette, putting the
What a
cigarette out on the
crazy image.
badge.
Yeah.
Just it I if you haven't
I think that's. Oh,
for
sorry.
for the listeners, if you're 2 hours into this and you don't know anything that's going on and you haven't seen this movie, I am so sorry because this movie
It makes no sense.
I can't I can't even describe like this movie if to someone that hasn't seen it because there's so much random shit that happens in this movie. It's like it's absolutely ridiculous, but I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah,
I don't know why I said it like that. I don't know why I whispered it like it was NPR. Like I love
ASMR.
it too.
Just the whole rest of the podcast is going to be ASMR.
I don't hate it. I don't appreciate it very much in the same way someone else would appreciate it.
That's look, what if everything ever all at once had an ASMR moment where you're just like
What would that sound like?
yeah, I don't
I
know.
would just play a loop of the pulse sound
just
until people's buttholes clench, bro. They're just like,
worst podcast ever. Okay, I do want to talk a little bit about where Evelyn actually verse jumps, and she has to confess her love to Deidre, and I love the way she's doing it too. No, before that, we need to talk a little bit about how, like, when Wayman's trying to protect her against Deidre, brilliantly shot. Like this whole sequence where it's almost like a Michael Myers situation, like a just a reference to that because Jamie Lee Curtis is there. But
that's so funny. I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
yeah,
you're right.
but especially since I watched Halloween for the first time last year, but I saw that on a rewatch. But like when when Wayman is trying to first, what's he trying to do? What universe is he trying to? Or I think it's ballet.
I think it was, yeah, or like a gymnast or something.
Yeah,
He was
gymnast.
just trying to, yeah,
So he can jump over Deidre and go
Mhm.
woohoo. But
like Mario.
but I hate the Daniels for this, having Wayman go through this using paper cuts through
Yeah.
that was so painful to watch, especially
But
on
they
a
were
big
also
screen
so
possible. So
they're also so real about that too. This only happens when you don't want it to happen, basically. Yeah, that's when paper cuts happen. Exactly. Yes.
4 of them right in a row, and just
In the worst spot.
and the worst spot, he got 3 of them, and then the way he tried to get that 4th one, then Deidre picks him up and basically just like
Batman spine
suplex.
break.
Yeah, like a John Cena move. John Cena, Fast and Furious, but no.
You're so good at this.
Yeah, we are so good at podcasting. This is amazing. But
No, I said you're so good at bringing in the Fast and Furious references from nowhere.
yeah, that's my entire life's journey, life's mission. But then we get, obviously, like, Evelyn has to confess her love to Deidre, and obviously she doesn't like actual Deidre just because of everything that she's going through.
Right.
But I love this. This is like her first step into living her life like Waymond, where it's just she tries, I love you, Deidre, I love you. I'm just like, and then we get the song Lux.
So great. I love
you.
you. I
And
love
just-
that song. It's like funny as fuck. Like, what?
It's so good.
It's like the artist, it's like the composers are all trying to help her. You gotta mean it.
Yeah, you gotta mean it. And she's like praying as freaking Jamie Lee Curtis is like jumping from the stairs. And at the last moment, she's just, the light goes on her headset and she presses it. And then she's, you know what? Fuck you. It just pushed her up to the side.
She said-
She pushes her to the side, and then Deidre just goes head first into the wall. She's dead,
Yeah.
by the way. She's straight up dead. I'm
It's
sorry.
the way she goes into it. I think that they like, I don't know if it was funnier because it was like practically done, but just
Yeah.
like right into the wall.
And then that's when we get introduced to the whole clay pot like thing, where
Right, another, yeah.
you gotta eat and or your clay pot will start leaking. You can't. It's another brilliant thing where it's like what I said earlier, where it's like, it's fine to do whatever you want, but you gotta have moderation.
Right.
You gotta eat. You gotta drink water, or things will go bad, and you'll your clay pot will crack and leak. But
Yeah.
then we get the weird line where Alpha Waymond is basically like saying like he loves like cream cheese. He hasn't like the whole
There's
cream
no
cheese.
cows in his
There's no
universe.
cows in his universe. I love that the Daniels just dropped that one line and they're just like, know what? We're not even gonna explain it. In his universe, there's no cows, so it's
I don't know if like they did it on purpose, but like I don't know if on the rewatch after watching it a billion times, but like that sequence specifically, there's not a whole lot of there's no music. It's just you just let you sit in these like weird jokes that like I was like, did you just say there's no cows in that universe?
yeah.
We're just gonna go now. All right, I guess we're moving on now.
And then that's when Evelyn basically says exactly what you just said, Tyler. Where she's just I need you to like stop for a second, explain everything. Enough
Yeah.
with your cream cheese, your
No cows.
tell me exactly what's going on now. And and then yeah, he's like, okay,
And that is all right.
okay. I'm trying to speed through it, but also okay.
We're all
But
good. We're cruising. Whenever it gets there.
Cruising
That's
for
what she said.
bruising. Cruising.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
What am I missing? What am I missing? We talked about the nihilism bagel.
Crazy nihilist bagel.
Yeah.
Rakakuni.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. I know this is gonna go back to like the beginning sequence again. I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
I realized on the rewatch, the planet payoffs. There's a lot. They hint at all of the things that kind of come up eventually. Basically her watching that movie with the dance sequence that just sprouted in another universe at that point.
Mhm.
I think they might have mentioned not Rakakuni specifically, but that sort of weird cartoons or something was on TV or something, and that's another universe. So they did a lot of planting throughout the beginning of like all these universes that they planned on showing if at some point. Like
Even Wayman running across, you see him like running across the cameras.
Yeah.
Like super quickly, but if you're watching on a big screen like we did, IMAX, you wouldn't normally see that. Don't watch this movie on your phone, Gen Z, talking to you.
I had a friend who said, I was like, did you see Endgame? He's like, oh yeah, in my high school they like airdropped it to everybody. You watched that on your phone illegally, and not even. That's not how you watch the movie, bro. On your phone.
Don't. Only movie I'll watch on my phone is Avatar: Way of Water, because I'll watch it vertically. I'll watch it vertically.
Yeah, I'll watch that shit vertically too. It'd probably be better now
on TikTok. You can probably watch it right now on TikTok because that's all TikTok is. Just illegally pirated movies.
You're right.
Yeah, it's so bad. But Thanos, does he want to make an appearance?
He's outside right now.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna do this, and then when I want to.
Oh, he just knows when you're muted. But yeah, shoot. What else can we talk about? Like with this movie? This movie's so good.
I will say the one part that always I think gets me every single time is when Wayman, like his whole kindness speech, but like when
you're good.
Whenever that kindness speech, like you go through all of these like memories where like their relationship and like all the little moments that she like missed, like him like not being able to like when he finally finds the remote. Or like when he's playing with the bell, like just all those little moments. It's like, yeah, that's the stuff and the stuff that you miss constantly. Yeah, I will say after like now being out of this relationship, right? Like you think about those things, right? And those are the things that like you overlooked and now you miss, right? Because you don't have it anymore. And I think that part of that movie, even when I was in a relationship, like even that part of that movie, like always gets me. Yeah, like then it makes you think about all those moments that like this is all important in one way or the other, like even when it didn't seem important to you at the time. Like
beautifully said, Tyler. Beautifully. I love that kindness speech too as well. But I also another scene that actually gets me too is it's like when Evelyn, like her clay pot is leaking and she finds herself as her life without Waymond and see how great it is, and she literally says to Waymond, "My life is so much better without you," and it's such a messed up line, Evelyn is like working on herself. So you don't
Mhm.
necessarily hate her for saying that, but it's oh come on, Evelyn, you're like you're just like I don't know. But Wayman just oh yeah, I know. But
Just hurting inside. You're like, okay,
yeah,
what?
but he can't be mad at her because he knows uh yeah, but I don't know. What do you
Because she's happy. I think ultimately because she's happy, that makes him happy. Like, even if it's not being with her.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
And then I love the line too, like when Wayman basically says that out of all the Evelyns that I've met throughout all the
yeah.
universes, you are the worst one. But that also means that you can literally do anything. And this is when okay, since I just mentioned that, this is when we get the Evelyn fight sequence. I know we jumped over the whole James Hong sequence. James Hong entrance into Alpha, like versus James Hong is literally the James Hong is cool in general, but the Daniels just made him way cooler. Where he's just in this wheelchair and just zooming across. But that fight sequence where Evelyn literally is like fighting, like doing like martial arts, like what we all know Michelle Yeoh from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon to do, but
Yeah.
she's fighting through all the odd jobs that she did in her life and how she's using like those elements to defend, to help protect like her family. I I I, I just love like even the most mundane moments in your life can be it can be used to protect and help people along
Yeah.
the way. Every moment of your life is beautiful. I love it. It's one of my favorite moments in the movie for sure.
Thing everywhere all at once is unfortunate.
Yeah. But Tyler,
Wait, I'm still listening. I'm gonna be right back. I'm still listening.
no, I can
Just
pause.
let me dog you real
I
quick.
can pause the recording just a little bit. Hold on.
Here we go.
All right. Is he all good?
Oh.
Okay. Is he inside now?
He's all good.
But yeah, that was I don't know. I just love that whole fight sequence. How it's cut going back with her Evelyn as waving signs, and then the way when she was a singer, the whole I don't know the way the whole sequence is edited. It's
Right.
probably one of my favorite fight sequences in the movie, and also like in film history for sure. But
And it's also introducing. See, that's another part where it's introducing even more rules of this world, where like the stronger she gets, she can actually access multiple things at the same time. If you just channel all of those things, that can they're all a part of you. You just gotta be able to.
And that kind of because she's obviously fighting this way, and that leads into the whole what you were saying about Wayman's kindness speech towards the end of this movie, where it's one of my favorite lines in the entire movie, where it's just this is how I fight, and he's just pouring. It's such it's a beautiful monologue for I think Quan basically like delivers it perfectly, and it's so like heartbreaking because he's crying saying like sometimes we just have to be kind, especially when we don't know what's going on. And I feel like that line it means so much today, especially with everything going on in the world with like Gaza and Palestine and everyone like on both sides and fighting back and forth. I know there's horrible shit in the world that's going on right now. Everyone is in like complete despair. There's like just genocide, like literally like everywhere. But that doesn't mean that we can't stop treating people with kindness and see people like what they're going through. And it's at least it's just step in someone else's shoes for a minute and it's like what you're saying like on TikTok too. It's just say thank you. Be appreciative of the people that are around you.
Yeah, because it feels like it's so much more important to be kind while this stuff is happening. Because especially when a lot of us feel powerless, that we can only do so much, right, to a certain extent, or we feel like we're not doing enough. And I feel like one of the first things and one of the things you can do like right now today is just be kind. Then be nice to the people around you and help people while this is happening. Because we're all fucking confused. It's all scary, right? But yeah, that line also gets me every time.
It's so real. And then I know we're jumping all over, but I just had to get to the whole kindness speech because that's the whole point of this movie, where Evelyn realizes she can't keep doing exactly what she is, or she's basically like destroying herself. Like she's literally like throwing up in front of her daughter and just peeing herself or whatever. It's a very weird like situation that Evelyn put herself in. But when she learns to fight like Waymond, and such a brilliant scene where she's like, she has like Joy at the top and she's trying to like, don't end up like I did. I want you to, she's just trying to pull her back to reality, and she's like fighting like all the people like up and saving them, like fighting them with kindness and like giving them what they want. You have the whole Daniel Scheinert character that was like into some weird sex stuff, which is so weird. And she like spanks him or something like that. He's like, ooh, thank you. And then
I was like, what a confident choice to make as a director.
Very odd how they even found that character too, when she was just walking in that one universe, and it was she like a housekeeper or something like that.
I think so. Like
they're office, like, and they're like, oh, dang,
whatever the
some weird. I've definitely been in that situation where I was definitely working a weird job and people were doing some weird stuff that, and I'm just like, but very weird for this movie to even bring something up like that. So, but I don't know. I just the whole kindness fight too, because it's like, what else do we see? Like, what happens? Like, somewhat like she becomes like a chiropractor and helps them get all. Yeah,
that was funny.
Yeah,
practice down. It's gonna hurt a little bit.
How she's using just kindness to fight, to fight her way all the way to her daughter, and it just ends with an embrace, and then that's when we get back to the regular universe where they just embrace and hug. Am I right on that? Am I forgetting like a scene or?
No, you got it. Because also, I think there was a scene where she finally tells her father that this is my daughter and this is her girlfriend. Because I think at that ending part when they're trying to grab her, it's the whole, you finally see this scene where the whole family is there trying to hold this thing together. And I think that's the other important, like super important thing about the message of this movie too. It's like, with the nihilism thing, right? Yeah, anything is possible because nothing matters. But you know what does help you get through that and keep that balance and keep yourself in check is when you're with people. Like, you need to surround yourself with people who love you, your family. Friends, and like
family.
And that's why you see in the end.
Family.
Damn it! I did it to myself. Damn it!
I will just say this. The family themes in this movie are definitely better than Fast and Furious. So it's actually serious.
Vin Diesel's, I don't believe that's true. And he drives off.
He drives to hell.
I didn't watch all the movies. I'm sorry.
If the next Fast and Furious is him driving to hell and back, I don't know what. I don't know what I would do.
I'm in. I don't even care at this point. I'm in.
But oh that sounds crazy. We're like 2.5 hours in, and we didn't even talk about the best scene in the entire movie. The scene that totally grounds everything to a halt, but also the audience needed it at this point. It's the rock scene.
Oh my god, yes, the rock scene. I loved when I first, okay, real quick, but the first time I saw it in the theaters, it was with everybody. That was the part where I was like, I think that was the moment I was like, I knew it was okay to cry because you could hear because that movie decided to just be in silence and let everyone sit in that shit.
Yeah, I definitely heard some sniffles, but I think I originally, did you hear that they didn't want to like add that in? They almost cut it out of the movie, and Michelle Yeoh was like, no,
I didn't know about that,
because, and she's right, like she mentioned this, I think it was in one of those variety actors on actors like talks, like she mentions like literally everything that happens up until the rock scene, I think the way I described this movie is just the Daniels pull a fire hose at us and just spraying us down, and you needed that rock scene to be like, just breathe. Yeah.
the fireman's blanket, right? They're like,
Yeah,
okay,
just a
we're
little
gonna take a
break.
little break
We're just
now.
gonna breathe and relax, just chill out, and just we're just rocks at this point. And yeah, he's just gonna be in this podcast just randomly at this point because I'm gonna leave it in. I'm not cutting a single thing. Not-
That's what she said.
But yeah, what do you think of this rock sequence?
Like you said, like it grounds it. I think it also it's crazy because like a scene that's supposed to be grounding is still set in like they're still
Mhm.
letting you know we're still in
Yeah.
this crazy thing like world though, right? Like we're watching these two rocks talk to each other right now. Like we're still weird, but we're gonna
Right.
give you something serious now at this point. I think it's so anti-blockbuster, and I think I brought it up in my other video too. And I think that's why I think this whole movie is
Mhm.
like almost anti-blockbuster-ish. Like no big like epic like climactic moment. They're like a lot of their big moments are just
Mhm.
two characters having a conversation. Because like I think a lot of the times like in real life we avoid just that, like just having a conversation with someone, being honest with someone, just talking. And I think like this movie, I think why it gets to people so much is because it does it multiple times where you just see two
Mhm.
characters actually just talking. And that hurts sometimes. And it's
Yeah.
like in a good way
Especially
though. It's
that.
like therapeutic, right?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And he
No,
no,
especially the
actually, I forgot.
conversation that Evelyn and Joy have at the end in the laundromat parking lot.
Mhm.
Joy screams out into the universe and says, "Great, you're working your shit out, mom." Where it's just, I've definitely
Yeah,
had that conversation with my mom. Where it's just, I get it, you accept me at this point, but it's a little bit, mom. It's jeez,
right,
it's brilliant acting on both parts from Stephanie Shu and Michelle Yeoh,
right.
and just that final embrace. You feel literally everything that these two have gone through. No, with the universes aside, but that embrace is just, it's like a relief, but
Like
also
relief,
everything that
like
they've went through that the movie doesn't even go into. Like it says that like the movie obviously talks a little bit about like the like how Evelyn's not really sure about her daughter being like gay, but it's it doesn't go completely into it. It's not like some movies where it's just like it like overdevelops like that stuff. It just like lightly touches on it. But yeah. Oh. I agree. I agree with you, Marley.
agreed.
Thanos. Thanos, what do you give this movie? How many stars?
Come.
Okay, never mind.
No, okay. Never mind that. Okay. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say
Yeah.
now. It's like piercing.
But yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up because your son is because your son wants you. No, but this movie is absolutely incredible. I'm glad that this movie like exists and I can watch it as many times as I want. But yeah, final thoughts, Tyler, on everything everywhere at once. Is there anything else you want to mention or say?
I think this might be one of the only few movies where I think every time I've seen it, it hasn't gotten old. It hasn't lost its. I have emotional movies when you watch it the second or third time. I get the beats and everything, but this movie for some reason, just every time I revisit it, it feels new every time, or I just find something new, or learn something new. Like even just like listening to you talk. That's why I love discussing movies because then I find out different things that I
Yeah,
didn't even think about at the time.
exactly. Like I think the thing that I definitely loved, especially like on this rewatch, like in IMAX, not only like I already talked about how well it was remastered, but like this movie felt like it just came out today because it's so fresh and so
Mhm.
new. And I love this movie. I don't think this movie will ever get old. The magic will never wear off. But th- my only thing I have left to say is thank you, Daniel Quan and Daniel Scheinert. Thank you for everyone that made this movie possible. This is it, I don't
I
know.
know.
It almost feels like a weird dream sometimes. That I don't know. It's just, and also like I mentioned in my Letterboxd review too, especially on this rewatch, like this movie has opened up so many doors too, small doors for me. But it's like I'm like
Mhm.
we both met, or did you meet Joshua? Joshua Bramer or oh, okay.
I'm
Oh, okay.
on TikTok, but I haven't
I
like
don't know.
met
It's just
him.
like
Yeah.
if you weren't talking about the movie like all the time, like on TikTok, you probably wouldn't have seen your videos. And just I just love how we
Right.
were connected to like through this movie as well, and just I love the power of a movie of what it can do
Mhm.
for stuff like that. But I don't know. Yeah, this movie's great. If you hate this movie and you've listened through 2.5 hours of this podcast and you still hate this movie, screw you. Screw you. Get sucked into a bagel.
Fuck you. Yeah, because on this podcast, this is where heartbreak feels good, okay? It feels good in a podcast like this.
Okay. I think no.
You
No.
said, okay, that's it.
I did not mean like that. But yeah, this movie's great. To wrap up, I got one more segment, Tyler, for you. It's a new segment that I have. It's called Double Build. So if you were to pair two
Yes.
movies, 3 movies, if you were to watch any movie after this, what movies would you
God damn it.
really?
I was thinking about this the whole time. And I was like, I was dying trying to come up with an answer because I was like,
Scary Man
Alien, no.
Babies and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Alien Romulus, right immediately after this movie.
Alien
That's a
Resurrection
universe you don't want to
Baby.
be in.
Olaf.
Ugh,
I love that in your
yeah.
video. Olaf. So,
Yeah.
no.
Was I wrong? If that thing didn't just start singing, bro, honestly, that would have saved the movie. What oh, Tom Popo.
I haven't seen it. That's
It's
on
a
my watch
Japanese
list.
movie.
Yeah, it's on the 250.
You haven't seen Tom Popo?
So you're gonna come back.
It's on the yes.
We can watch it.
Massive. Yes. Yeah. I think you really love that movie. I think you might actually enjoy that movie. I know when I was some of the people on the real study, they did not like that movie. So
Yeah.
It was just too weird, I think. That's why I don't pick movies anymore. And I don't know, like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is great too. I think it has similar messages of all this craziness that's going on. Just don't forget that like you belong here though. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. Like that whole message. I think they kind
I
of
thought you were gonna say Spider-Man No Way Home for a second.
God, no.
Across the Spider-Verse.
No.
either of them. Yeah.
Across. Yeah, honestly, yeah, either of them. And then a Police Story, if you just want Jackie Chan fun,
or any Wong
little
Kar-wai.
misogyny in it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Any Wong Kar-wai. Oh my god. I saw Fallen Angels recently, and I think I love Chungking
It's
Express.
so good. I
that
think
movie's so great.
I think there's a few episodes back where we covered it on the pod. It's really great. It's really great.
I love that movie. I think did you cover it with or no?
Kale Smith
Maybe it wasn't him
from the Youth Critic podcast. Yeah,
okay.
It's really great.
I love that movie.
I'm surprised I didn't watch it like sooner, but
same.
Yeah,
same within the Mood for Love.
Wong Kar-wai is a master in cinema.
Cinema. Nicole Kidman's cinema. No, we're not talking.
I should
about
put
you.
just. I should put like whenever we say cinema, just Nicole Kidman in the background when I'm editing. Cinema. Tom Popo, and then Across the Spider-Verse. Double feature.
Yeah, I say those are nice, good old movies.
I think for me, I would watch pretty much any movie after this, but to follow my own rules and pick at least 2 movies or at least 3 movies for a double feature or triple feature or whatever, I would pick Little Miss Sunshine, because Little Miss Sunshine is. I remember when that movie was nominated for Academy Awards, and I wanted it to win. I wanted it to win Best Picture, and it didn't. And I feel like Everything Ever All at Once fulfilled that destiny for Little Miss Sunshine. It really two movies about a family that's going through hard times and how they have to talk to each other and relate to each other and just hug it out and support each other during all the craziness in the world. I
Yeah.
love Little Miss Sunshine along with this movie as well.
Also has one of my favorite quotes in a movie ever, that do what you
Mhm.
want and
The
fuck the rest.
Paul
Like,
Dano,
so
another
good.
Daniels alum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Paul Dano. Did you mean the Riddler?
I need to watch that movie again. The Batman.
Oh,
I need to watch that movie
Mia.
again because I remember him being good in it, but I've only watched the Batman once. Like,
I watched it once, and then the second time I was mad at my friend because I told him that at the TLC, the Chinese theater, someone shows up every time during a premiere. He's, oh, okay, and then we were late and we missed Robert Pattinson, and I was upset the rest of the movie.
damn. At least you got to see your
God.
dad, though. At
He's
least
like, why did you tell me?
Yeah.
I did. I know. Too bad the movie was like, sorry. I love the movie. I can see
No,
why people don't like it,
no.
but damn, why do you have to bury him like
This
this?
movie's amazing.
Movie's good.
I rated it 5
I had a
stars
fun
just to piss
time.
people off. Yeah.
I hope I changed mine. I'm gonna change mine.
Thor: Love and Thunder is great. I loved it. I cried. It's amazing. It's better than Ragnarok. Actually, no, it's not. But
5 stars.
yeah, I take that back.
You're like, wait, I take that back. Hold on.
It's the same quality.
Yeah, too far.
It's about the same quality.
Same quality. It's about the same quality. Maybe a little less, but there's like, it's
But yeah,
like,
the magic's
the magic's there.
Yes.
That's every TikTok review ever. Oh my god, this movie was great. I love it so much. 1
What?
star. What? What you mean? What do you mean? Explain that. No, I'm just saying the cinematography is amazing. I love the way that like the actors were. It was great. 1 star. What? No.
Kit Laser. I mean,
Who
what?
are you?
I'm cutting that.
Oh,
I'm cutting that
then
shit
you.
out. I'm cutting that
Mic
shit
drop.
out. I'm sorry. Oh wait, hold on. Let me pause this.
Okay, while we're at it, let me
Can
not.
I just shine?
Yeah.
Little Miss Sunshine is a good double feature with Everything Ever All at Once, and then just to spite you, Tyler, I would throw in a Dee Dee.
Don't you dare.
Because
Oh, okay.
Dee Dee is like the no, I wouldn't do that to you, but because every Fast and Furious needs to be enjoyed on its own, not with a companion piece.
Oh.
But I would throw Dee Dee in there, a most recent release, just because it feels like the male version of Everything Ever All at Once. Like you have the mother-daughter relationship in Everything Everywhere, and then you have in Dee Dee his relationship with his mom there. I don't want to give too much away because I want to
That's
spoil
already
it.
enough to sell me on the movie.
It's really great. And I've heard a lot of comparisons to Everything Everywhere. And Sean Wang I want to see what else he does.
I still have to watch his short film it's on Disney Plus or Hulu or something.
Yeah, is it a documentary? Is it a documentary or something?
I think so. It's like a short. It's 15 minutes or whatever it is, right? Yeah, I gotta watch that one.
But definitely go watch Dee Dee, even if you have to drive 40 minutes out.
I almost if you have to pirate that shit.
I almost had to drive 90 minutes out to see Dee Dee, but then it actually played at a theater like 3 blocks away from me. So I was like, yes. But Dee Dee and Little Miss Sunshine would be my double bill with Everything Everywhere.
Nice.
But Tyler, we are. I said it was going to be about a 4-hour podcast, and we're right around almost 3 hours.
We did pretty good.
But if this is the part of the podcast where you tell people where they can find you.
Oh, you can find me at. I just dropped my address now.
Just dox yourself.
You just sit there back on TikTok. This is the most I've been back on. Hopefully I'm here to stay like I'm important. I'm at Tyler the Filmmaker. I haven't made anything yet recently, but we'll get there. You can also find me on my Instagram by the same tag. And then you can also find me on Marley's feed sometimes. I don't know, maybe.
Sometimes.
If he stitches me or was I'll stitch him sometimes. We'll just back and forth. You can also find me on The Real Study. Yeah, let's shout out other podcasts too.
Yeah, shout out The Real Study. Friend of the podcast, The Real Study.
Friend of the podcast. We should just have a mass like multiverse podcast where we get everybody in one room. It's badly mixed.
No, we should just do a live show. The Real Study and the Real Lovers podcast.
That would be crazy.
Because I've been seeing, I have a lot of mutual podcast pals
Yeah.
that are starting to do live shows. I don't think I'm there yet, just because I don't think anyone listens to the shit. But
Let's just do it. Who cares? Like, we should do it. Let's just get a couple people.
if one person just shows up, they're like, yeah,
That's fine.
yeah,
We're gonna make it the greatest experience for that one person.
I know,
I'll
right?
tell you what. Like,
They're gonna be like, this
where
is
can we
like,
find you?
this is like Avatar: The Way of the Water.
And then we immediately shut the stream off, cancel everything.
In the podcast. But where can people find me? You can find me here. No, if people aren't
I'll be here.
annoyed by me by the end of this 3-hour podcast, you can follow me pretty much anywhere on social media with the username at Marley Loves Film. I'm really happy that I locked that down. Because I don't know, whenever a new social media platform comes up, I just sign up and just get it and then leave. So I'm like, I'm upset that I deleted my Twitter, but I feel like I did the right made the right
Wait,
choice.
what's Twitter? Do you mean X?
Shut up. Shut up. X. Fast.
I can't wait to post one. It's a marketing ploy. It changed because of that.
Elon is in the final movie. But yeah, most active places right now are Instagram and Threads. I'm trying to post on TikTok, but we'll see how that goes. I also got a YouTube that you're probably listening to this podcast on. So just hit that subscribe button. Got some video essays probably coming on that YouTube channel.
Waiting for that Alien retrospective, bro. I don't know.
5,000 word retrospective so far.
I mean 4,000 word on resurrection.
Yeah, 4,000, 5,000. It's the same thing. Same number. Nothing matters. Nothing matters at the end of this podcast. Just be you.
Oh, I thought you were going to go dark for a second. Just
no. If you like this podcast somehow, you can listen to this podcast anywhere where you listen to podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts. Give us a rate and review.
Okay.
Give us a rate and review. We also have a Patreon as well. Sign up for as little as $1, $5. You can pick movies for us to review, and
$10.
I bet
that I'm a Patreon subscriber to you right now.
And then $10 you can listen to my TV talk, because we don't talk about TV shows because it's a movie podcast.
Guys, only $10? That's crazy.
Yeah,
right.
But
y'all should be subscribing
for
TV.
Thanks for this promotion.
Why you gotta hide behind a paywall? Give it to us, Marley.
Yeah, I put everything behind a paywall. Much like every CEO. This is my journey. But yeah, subscribe to that Patreon if you must. If you must. We also have a digital crib now. TheRealLovers.com. www.thereallovers.com. Because social media is in the toilet. Might as well just hang out with us over on at thereallovers.com instead of the Real Lovers X or whatever. But yeah, Tyler, this has been a pleasure.
I've been pleased.
This has been a pleasure. You are like, I'm really glad I had this conversation with you, Tyler. Like talking about this movie and just talking about movies in general. I'm really glad I met you too. This is really weird, just because we met on TikTok and we saw Love and Thunder, we saw Spider-Man No Way Home, and it's just, I don't know, the whole situation is just like super weird, but it's real cool. But yeah,
I try not to think about it too much because it sounds crazy, right? Like how like don't get all sentimental all of a sudden. I can't handle
the world these days.
Handle these emotions.
Nothing matters. That's all. Nothing matters and everything matters all at the same time. Exactly. So just be yourself. And yeah, so it's really great that Daniel's made a movie.
I was like trying to add on to something, but you just you got it. I don't know.
But yeah, but with that being said, my name is Marley Silverbrand for the Real Lovers podcast, and
I'm Tyler the filmmaker.
And let's get back to the movies. Cinema.
Cinema.
Nickel